too high. It's unobtainium at that point.
Iwata stood up to his shareholders despite their demands.
Oh my God, I can't believe that happened.
This is going to be my moment to shine. I am sure of it.
Finally.
I know.
What you've been waiting for.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the NerdNest. I am your host, Bill Fairchild, and we have a full crew, starting with a man who is confused greatly, Carrie Gollum. How's it going, Carrie?
Hey, it's me. I am giving you my sound so that you can check it.
All right. Well, let's do a sound check on Rich as well. How's it going, Rich?
Yeah, I don't have any awkward statements to make whatsoever.
Russ, can you, we're going to wrap this up. You got to bring us home with the least or the most awkward statement of all of us.
You know, honestly, I was thinking to myself, like, anything I say now will be awkward because of what Rich said, basically. So we'll just leave it at that.
Exactly. All right. So listen,
Nailed
we
it.
got a lot of news to talk about, like a boatload. We've got some Steam news. We've got a lot of Microsoft news. We've got this little game called About Me video games that we're going to talk about later on. And maybe, if there's time, a game of true or false. But let's start off with Valve, because we just saw posted over on Steamworks. Valve posted this. Basically, we've seen that they started collecting data for how games are running on different hardware. They're collecting this data as, like, I don't remember if it's opt-in or opt-out, but basically your computer that you're playing on can say, these are the frames that I'm getting when I'm playing this game. And they're reporting that information back to Valve. And now that we can see what they're doing with it, I'm actually pretty excited about this. So this was posted over at the official website. This is Steam Deck data, now available in beta. Today, we've updated our partner dashboard with more information for Steam Deck verified games. If your game has received Steam Deck verification report and is marked with verified, you will now see two new data sections tied to that report. One of those things is average frame rate data. So this is going to be, it says that this section provides the trailing 30 days daily running average based on users that opted to, so it's opt-in, opted to allow their frame rate data to be gathered and have had playtime for the game. In the future, we'll be adding variance data for each date, so you'll be able to see if the frame rate is steady or fluctuates a great deal for your players. We'll also be expanding this view to Steam Deck playable games in the future update. So it's not going to just be verified games. And then they also have user survey results, which is going to give devs more information. When I look at this, my first question that I wonder is, do you guys think that Valve is going to be sharing this with the end users at any point? Because right now, it seems like it's only available for the people who are for the developers or the publishers of the games. We don't get to see this. I think this is incredibly valuable information when making purchasing decisions, but right now it's still hidden. It isn't beta for, I mean, to be fair, it's in beta for the publishers. So maybe once it's out of beta, then it'll go into beta for us. But what do you guys think, Rich?
Yeah, certainly, you know, that was something that we kind of speculated when they first, when it was first leaked, that this sort of like frame rate data was coming. And now looking at this announcement, I think not. I don't think this is going to come to us. And I think my opinion right now is that that's for good reason. I think that as a developer, when I'm looking at this, I'm not looking at this to see the average frame rate. I'm looking at this to see the change in average frame rate, meaning if the frame rate goes down over time, that is a signal to me that some of the features that I have added or some of the patches that I have made have caused the frame rate to go down, and I need to address that. Whereas a lot of what we were worried about from a user perspective is like, you know, what really is average frame rate, right? Because some people have systems with LSFG, some people have LSFG being lossless scaling, excuse me. You know, some people are running on different presets, things like that, right? And so like for a user, the data can get muddied quickly, but when you're taking it at scale and saying the frame rate is going down or going up, I think that's a better signal for developers to do something about it.
Gary, you got an opinion on that?
So I'm with you, Bill. Like, where I do think it's super valuable information to have for just general end users, right? Especially if you can just take a bird's eye view of like this game averages X, right? Just give a very simple number, across an aggregate of whatever, and take out the outliers, like Rich had mentioned with lossless scaling frame gen. If they're going to be using anything that's on top of there, that's not really like a part of Steam Deck, but you can get with like Decky plugin and stuff. I think if you took away the outliers and just gave a simple number, and especially when the Steam Machine comes out, that's like super valuable. So I think for both of those, where the only problem is that for me is that it gets into this territory of that's not super fair for other people that don't have that hardware. And it's like, okay, it's like a general baseline of like, well, it runs like this on these things, and generally I know I'm better than that. It would be nice if it could kind of communicate that to the user in a easy and friendly way. It's like, okay, this is what they are here, but with your machine, it should be like this, right? Like, so if it just gave you that number and then a guesstimate number, that would be nice. Or failing that, collect data from people, everyone, and just like, okay, you have a 4090 and every other 4090 person that we've got, this is the frame rate that you get based on your system. And that's all we're going to show you. We're not going to show you Steam Deck. We're not going to show you Steam Machine. We're only going to show you what you actually have. And that would be the ultimate best one. I hope it gets there, but at the very least, the idea of doing this and then the developer saying, oh crap, the update we did actually shows a regression in performance from the past 32 days. So they can just eyeball that real quick. And that's super helpful for the developers. And it kind of helps, kind of triage when people are complaining about stuff and saying, oh, is this is this one-off? Is this an issue? So you can get a more holistic view from it. So ultimately, I'm happy with it. I think I'm in alignment with you. I wish that was there, and that's it.
When you say, okay, this guy's got a 5090, and let's say all the other 5090s are reporting this. The only problem with that is like we might have different CPUs. We might have different amounts of RAM.
Settings, like you can go 4K, 1080p, 1440p.
Yeah.
So yeah, they would have to have some mechanism to kind of try to understand what's going on. I don't know if they'll get there, and I can see why they wouldn't include that, and why Steam Deck is so much easier is like we know it's an 800p panel. Also with GameScope can communicate what is the output resolution, so they can kind of get that as well. But if you have that on Windows, you're not really getting that information, so they're gonna have to be like squirrely ways to try to figure that out. I don't know. It would be interesting if they solved it, because I think it'd be super valuable.
Russ, if you, with what Rich and Carrie were just pointing out, do you think it's best that it's hidden from the end user for now, since it's not as reliable as we had fingers crossed and hoped?
Yeah, I mean, anytime you're doing any sort of analysis, you want to make sure your data is good, and just giving it to the court of public opinion is probably going to be a bad thing, right? Just putting it out to everybody is likely going to make people extrapolate things that may or may not be accurate just based on what they're seeing. Even looking at their image here, it's like, okay, average Steam Deck frame rate, and they've got a chart, and oh, look, average reported frame rate for Portal 2 is 70 frames per second on the Steam Deck. Like, okay, well, that must be the Steam Deck OLED, because the other one doesn't even go up to 70, like it just goes up to 60. And so there's already a little bit of analysis that has to be done right there. And so I think that it's better as a tool to give to developers and be like, hey, this is what we're seeing with your game. And then that gives them the tool or the opportunity to do something about it one way or another. I think that's the way it's designed.
I personally wonder if there's ever a chance that they could, how Valve has like APIs and stuff that publishers can like hook into and stuff.
Steamworks.
Yeah. I wonder if it's possible for them to develop like a new API that would report all of the information that they need. If you say, yes, my computer's okay with reporting all of this information that they need, that would allow them to get that information that we're talking about, because right now it seems like it's not actually a real option.
Yeah.
All right. Keeping with the theme for Valve, we're going to move on. And last week we speculated a bunch about the Steam controller. Well, we've got a lot more information coming out about the Steam controller. I mean, first off, we saw the leak from Sadly It's Bradley. I don't remember if we talked about that on the last episode,
No.
where there was a video that
Yeah,
had
that's new.
leaked. That's new since last week. Okay.
Mhm.
So basically, there's a video that Valve had uploaded, and of course, because they uploaded it to Steam, it's available everywhere. Like you can see it, but it's a black video. Like you literally can't see anything. You can go there and see that it exists, and it's titled Steam controller unboxing video. And sadly, Bradley found that in his Steam controller unboxing 2026, which everybody started speculating. I made a video about, talking about, okay, seems like we're probably going to get the Steam or the Steam controller sooner rather than later. And then we also saw, I can't tell if this was today or yesterday. It's today. Okay, so yeah, the Komodo thing from Gabe follower posted this over on Twitter, and I'm bringing that up on screen right now. And he said the official page for Steam controller on the Komodo Station website just went live. Now, just to make sure everybody's on the same page, for those of you that don't follow this stuff as closely as we do, the Komodo Station is the only third-party official website where you can buy Steam hardware. That's the only place where you can go that's not Valve, that has officially partnered with Valve, as far as I know, that you can go there and you can then buy like a Steam Deck, right? And the last time that we saw the Komodo, what's it called? Komodo Station? Yeah, Komodo Station drop information, we had something that popped like right after, and I am struggling to remember what it was. Do you guys remember what that was?
Wasn't the OLED, was it?
Was it the OLED?
I think. Sorry, I tuned out. Were you asking like what Komodo kind of leaked last time? The last time?
Yeah, the last time they leaked something. Was that the OLED?
It was Steam hardware.
That's right.
Yeah, it may have been Steam Machine specifically, but I think it was Steam hardware that they had on their site first.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, I mean, now they've updated their website to have the Steam controller. Turns out they also did the same thing with Steam Frame and Steam Machine later on in the day. So now all three of those things are now up on Komodo. Okay. So here's my question. My original question was going to be, does this make you think that Valve is going to release the Steam controller before the other products? Because we saw the unboxing thing, and then we saw the Komodo thing, but then Komodo also uploaded Steam Frame and Steam Machine. I can't remember these words. Steam Frame and Steam Machine. So maybe that doesn't make sense. What do you guys think, Russ? What's your opinion here?
I think this is another sign that this thing's coming soon. I think we're going to get it before the Steam Machine, get it before the Steam Frame. I mean, we've been talking about that for a bit now. And yes, we'd love in a perfect world to get everything at once, be able to make our bundles and all that stuff. But at some point, they just got to ship it, and I think start with that controller. No RAM, no CPU, no storage.
Bill, you're on mute, Bill.
Can Bill hear us?
I don't think so. Bill, you're muted, dude.
I'm muted. That's right. I muted because I was typing and then I forgot to unmute. All right. Rich, you look like you were getting ready to say something.
Yeah, so I did confirm it was Steam hardware. I don't know exactly what happened and how much of a advance it was. I want to say it was almost like the day before,
it was fast.
Yeah, and then immediately after it was announced, pretty much. But yeah, I agree with Russ. I think this is kind of making it clear that it's on the horizon. I think the video, I mean, clearly the video that sadly it's Bradley kind of reported was uploaded to Steam. That must be the same exact video that we see now on the Komodo site. And it gives a lot, it's a promotional video for the Steam controller with all of those features that they talked about. I personally am super, super, super excited to get one of these, really to get 4 of them. And so I hope that they are in ample supply. I know that's one of the things that we were worried about last week. You know, does this mean that they are launching this kind of in advance of Steam Machine and Steam Frame and separately from those two things? It's starting to seem like it, right? Because there are no new assets for Steam Machine and Steam Frame, even though those pages do exist on the Komodo. But clearly there's a new asset or new assets for the Steam controller itself. So even more so, it's looking like this thing is coming soon.
Yeah.
So to add to that too, there's a bunch of like, how when you go on the Steam's website, like they'll have like these snippets of like these GIFs or GIFs that are just kind of rotating or looping around. And in those, they'll show people like playing on the controller and stuff on this Komodo website. None of them are plugged into the Steam machine. They're all using the Steam Deck or a regular old PC. Like they just took the Steam machine out of the marketing materials, which says something about the shortages and stuff right now too.
Yeah, I saw sadly as Bradley mentioned that, and I didn't want to bring it up here because it's a little bit of a bummer. But yeah, that's crazy, right? That yeah, go ahead, Kerry.
So sorry, but sadly, it's Bradley also, I think 2 weeks ago, mentioned that they had a big delivery of the controllers.
Yeah, that we did discuss last week. So yeah.
So I was aware of that. And then seeing this, I was firmly in no, it's totally going to be all 3 at once, and it's going to be the bundle price.
Same.
And now I am completely with you guys that it is not a bundle at all.
Yeah.
And they're just going to sell the Steam controller, which arguably I'm probably the most excited for. So I'm glad that it's coming out now.
Right.
Like the Steam Frame is going to be awesome. And I can't wait to have that. And the Steam Machine, I'm not super excited about. It's like, just kind of work for me, really. But the controller, like I'm so psyched. This is Gyro. This is going to be my moment to shine. I am sure of it.
Finally.
I know
what you've been waiting for.
I feel like that grip inclusion is something that was something I always felt was needed, and that they had it there. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I am also looking forward to just trying it out on Windows and just be like, actually, this is a better controller to be using for Windows in general as like a console. Especially with the trackpads and everything else. So yeah, it's super happy this is coming out. Kind of a bummer that it's likely Steam Frame and Steam Machine aren't, but I'm glad that the Steam controller is seemingly very close, perhaps Monday.
Oh, you think it's going to be Monday that we're going to hear about this?
It's like Monday or Tuesday, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's always 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's always that time. So we'll see.
Oh my God.
I'm going to say it's Tuesday, and then Monday we're going to get Half-Life 3.
Okay, that's crazy talk.
Why would you do that to us?
Well, let us know when you guys think that we're going to get hands-on with the Steam controller. We've been waiting for, how long ago did they announce this? Was it like
November?
Seems like it's been forever, but we've talked about it
November.
so much. November.
So 6 months, a solid.
That's
6
not
months.
nearly as long as it feels. It feels like we've been talking about it forever, but that's probably because I've been talking about the follow-up to the Steam controller since the first Steam controller, because I won't shut up about it because I just freaking love the Steam controller. But let us know, when do you guys think we're going to get our hands on these things? Do you think that it's going to be just the Steam controller, or is it going to be all 3 announced at the same time? Let us know in the comments section down below, and we are going to move on to our next topic. Somebody sent this to me. It's a link to this place called grids.fun. And there's a link, there's going to be a link in the show notes. And if you join the community Discord, there'll be you can drop your grids into the Discord so that we can all talk about the choices that you make. But I thought it would be fun if the 4 of us filled this thing out. So just to make sure that everybody's on the same page with this, I'm just going to close that, and there we go. Okay. So there's this grid that is 5 by 4. So there's 20 slots on here. And I'm just going to name off the slots real quick. There's favorite game, best story, favorite art style, biggest personal impact, best combat, overhated, underrated, overrated, needs a remake, criminally overlooked, favorite protagonist, favorite antagonist, best soundtrack, best multiplayer, not my usual thing, but turn my brain off, best with friends, best retro game, nostalgic childhood game, and game everyone should play. And you can go through and choose whatever game you want to fill into this. And I thought that this would be a really fun discussion topic. Now, we have tons of news in today's show. So I don't know that we're going to get through all of these categories. But what we're going to do is we're going to start on the bottom level and work our way up, because I think the stuff at the top is the stuff that is probably the most contentious. But all the way on the bottom, the games that we turn our brain off with. Russ, I'm going to have you start off. What is the game that you like to turn on and then you could turn off your brain and just veg out?
Yeah, I should start by saying that this whole grid thing made my brain veg out, because I had such a hard time picking these. I like spent hours kind of going back and forth about it, and then I ended up making a video about it. It came out this morning. These guys haven't watched it yet, but I like made a whole video talking about all my choices, because I was just like, I don't know, agonizing over every little one. So for Turn My Brain Off, I did Zookeeper for Nintendo DS. And it's interesting because that's a puzzle game, but it's a game where if you think too hard about it and you look too hard, like you won't see anything. So you have to turn your brain off and just kind of look. It's like looking at that magic, the 3D magic
The
thing,
magic
you know what I'm
eye.
talking about? Yeah, magic
Yeah,
eye.
the
So
thing
it's like
that
looking
never
at that.
works for me.
Right. And so you have to let like your brain take over kind of, or without thinking, if that makes any sense. And then you can start playing. And so that's why I put that down as turn my brain off, because it literally makes me think differently when I'm playing that game.
Very cool. Carrie, what's the game that you turn your brain off with?
Pac-Man, the original arcade Pac-Man. It's a like absolutely simple game, and I find myself zoning out, and like understanding which ghost is going where, how they go, and I just start getting into it, and then it's just I get lost in Pac-Man pretty easily.
Nice.
So you prefer the original Pac-Man to Ms. Pac-Man?
I don't care either or.
Okay.
To be honest, so for me, I like the side art of the original Pac-Man more than I
hell
like
yes, where he's got feet.
Yeah. I like that a lot more. But I don't really care one way or the other. It's very similar to me. Not like a master at Pac-Man, so I don't know if there's actually intrinsic differences between the two. I just know that when I'm playing, I'll go like 5 levels deep and die or whatever. But when I do play, it I say within 5 seconds, it will absorb everything that I have, and my brain will just like zone out, and then nothing else, and I'm just in Pac-Man.
Very cool. Rich, what about you, man?
Yeah, so I try my best not to have any recency bias. I want to pick the tried and true games. But for this row in particular, there were two that did have recency bias, and this one in particular, I picked Crimson Desert as turn my brain off.
Wow.
I think,
okay.
I can see that.
Yeah, I think like there's just so much of just like, oh, just go get the thing, just go do the thing, and I have more fun with it when I turn my brain off rather than when I try to play it as a game that's like serious, right? Like it's better to me when I'm just mauling through crowds for no reason and that's it. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
that was my pick for turn my brain off.
I also tried really hard to avoid recency bias. I do think that there's one particular spot where I think recency bias definitely took over and wouldn't let me think of anything else, and that's best combat, but we'll talk about that another time. So for me, the game that I love to play when I want to just turn my brain off, Diablo 3. Not 4. 4 is good, but 3 is the one that really got me. I mean, I played the original one and I played that one to death. And then when Diablo 2 came out, I was so busy playing either EverQuest or Ultima Online at the time. And so I just never picked it up. And then when Diablo 3 came out, I was on my elliptical machine just watching all of the cutscenes from Diablo 1 and Diablo 2 to catch up so that I could play Diablo 3. And then when it came out, man, did they screwed up the landing bad, but then they turned it around and they fixed the game after really bad feedback. And I absolutely love Diablo 3. It's so much damn fun. And I wish that they would just remake Diablo 3 with Diablo 4's engine, because Diablo 4 looks so much better, but it's just such a good game. All right, next up, best with friends. So this is the category where, you know, you want to play with other people. Playing all by yourself is not the way to go. I'm going to go first, and then for me, it has to be World of Warcraft. World of Warcraft,
nice.
I cannot tell you how many hours that me and my friends had put into that game. It was the only game that I played for about 7 years. Like, that was it. It was like we would log on, we would play WoW together, we would do raids. My friend and I would constantly make new characters and then only play them together. So we would always be the same level. We would always be on the exact same quest. And we would just run around doing stuff. It's like the game has endless things to do and there's so much variety. Just when you're on voice comms with somebody, it's just so much damn fun. All right, Russ.
So we're 2 games in,
go ahead.
and you've got 2 Blizzard games. I'm scared for the rest of the board.
Well, I'm going to tell you right now, there's no other Blizzard. Oh,
All
there's
right.
one other Blizzard game on here.
There we go. Okay,
Gotcha.
all right.
Okay, I'm a huge Blizzard fan, though. Like,
Yep.
back in the day, they just made the best stuff all the time. Anyway, Russ, what's your best with friends game?
Yeah, so I had a couple options, but I ended up going with Wii Sports for this one because I feel like it's like I never play Wii Sports alone, right? Like, it's I gotta get people around and we're gonna bowl together. You know, we're gonna play tennis against each other, and so that's for me is like that's the game. It's a console mover for me.
Do you still have like the Wii hooked up with the little infrared thing on top of your TV?
Sensor bar.
No,
Sensible, thank
so we did that for many years, but here in Hawaii, you can't really do it. The Wiimotes, they leak, like the battery acid leaks so fast in those things because of the humidity here. It's like, it's a disaster. And so it's like, you can't trust the Wiimote to be on its own. And so as a result, I like put it all away. I'm like, put it all away and then, you know, only mess with it every once in a while. And so we don't have it out, but we did for years. Yeah.
Fair enough. All right, Rich, best
All
of
right.
friends.
Yeah, so I really like the Wii Sports pick, and I'm a little like, oh, I should have
too,
gone in
Matt.
that direction. Not necessarily Wii Sports, but now I'm thinking of games like Drawful, right? There's a lot of good stuff.
Jackbox.
Yeah, exactly. There's another category we probably won't get to this week, best multiplayer. And so like this was just my opportunity to pick another best multiplayer. My choice was Rocket League, which is also just great with friends, right?
Yeah.
But I have, I don't know, like 200 hours in Rocket League, and I enjoyed every single moment. So it goes up there for me for sure.
All right, Carrie.
So my choice, I was going to lean on a few, but then I had already included them in like other categories, so I didn't want to do that. Ultimately, my choice that I've chosen is WCW versus NWO World Tour for the N64.
Oh, hell
wow.
yes.
That was a great
That's a
game
good
with
game.
friends. Yes,
That's,
good
yeah,
pull.
I actually won a tournament at a local game shop and actually won Turok 2 for N64. But there was like 50 people, and these are all wrestle heads, like, so everyone's like, so that type of environment was amazing. So like there's me and the top guy, and everyone is going nuts because like I had like one loss left and he had one loss left, and I beat this guy, but another guy had beaten me, and he's like, but earlier on, and he's like, I beat the guy that won, so I should get first place. And I'm like, that's not
how it works, buddy. Not how it works.
Yeah. So, and funnily enough, I was almost going to put WCW versus NWO as best combat as well. So I was like, oh wait, no, I can't, because I love the grapple. I love the like, just what it's like, the parry that it has in it. Everything about it I absolutely love. So yeah, but that's also GoldenEye was going to be there, but I ultimately went with WCW because I wanted to talk about it.
When you won that tournament, did you get a belt?
No,
Oh,
no, there
come on.
was supposed to be an actual trophy, and they were waiting for the plate, and then they just never did it. And I also didn't care to have it. Like, what am I going to do with this trophy? That's like, yeah, I won WCW, like, from a local store. Like, it'd be neat, but like,
nobody wants a trophy, but you want a belt for a
yeah, I mean,
competition.
I was way happier with Turok too. So
That's true.
When you were telling that story and you pointed at Turok, presumably the game, you were like, yeah, I won Turok too, and you pointed, and I'm like, is like Turok standing there with him? Is it like the protagonist?
It's
of the
right
The
there.
actual dinosaur hunter
right
is
there.
right,
right,
there.
the actual dinosaur, and he like waves and nods, like, yeah, that's me.
Right.
Yeah, so I have my
That's Carrie's editor.
That explains everything.
All right. Next topic, or not next topic, next category. This one I really struggled with. Best retro game. Like I went back and forth, and I really went back and forth between two of them. And I think that I think I put them in the right order. But for me, the best retro game of all time is The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past. A Link to the Past is so good. It holds up so damn well. If you boot it up today, you can play through that game and you can have an absolute blast. It doesn't look dated. It looks, it's definitely looks of its time, but there's something that is so well made about it that I just can, every time I play it, I am just in love with that game. So, Link to the Past is mine. Rich, what about you?
All right, so yeah, this was a tough one. I had to go with Super Metroid, and there are so many choices that I could have picked. But the thing about Super Metroid is you could literally hand it to me today and I will enjoy it, right? Like it doesn't matter that I've beaten it a few times. It doesn't matter that, it's, some of it is, let's say, aged not so well compared to modern Metroidvanias. I will play that game and I will enjoy it for, however long it takes me to beat it. And then next year I'll probably do it again. So it's just like insanely replayable for me, which I can't necessarily say for a lot of games. As replayable as they may be, they're just not that replayable for me for some reason. And Super Metroid kind of sticks out as a game that actually is.
I've never finished that.
No,
I've played it 1,000 times.
Why
I've
not?
never finished it.
Go
I don't
finish
know. I know. I know. I should.
It's not even like a challenge.
It's not a long game.
It's not. And it's not that, like, if you say you didn't finish like Metroid NES, I get it, right? But Super Metroid, you can absolutely do.
Yeah, I should. All right. Carrie, favorite or best retro game?
This one is hard. This one is genuinely hard because it's like a lot of things of like, is it quintessential, right? Like what is it? Is it like, I was just okay, I just going to play this game. And I feel like you guys are doing that. For me, it's along the same lines where we're going along like there's something that I could play today, and it goes further for me, right? So when you even mentioned Super Metroid, there are still Metroidvanias, there's still core gameplay elements that will copy straight from, like, I mean, even Metroid Dread is just like prettier Super Metroid, right? Like they are just remaking the game. So that's the type of mentality that I was going with. But to that same effect that I like with like Mega Man 9 and 10, I picked Mega Man 1. Mega Man more so as the formula of Mega Man that Capcom makes. I still love Mega Man, but it's like every Mega Man that is in that same type of, so even Mega Man X, not the Battle Network ones, but Mega Man, you know what I'm talking about?
Right.
And it's like, if Capcom made a new Mega Man, like Mega Man 9 and Mega Man 10, like they did for XBLA, they made a Mega Man, they made Mega Man 11 as well, which is still the same thing. Yeah. That's what I mean, is like, it's still the retro thing. They can put whatever paint they want onto it, but it still has that retro design, that framework. So I choose Mega Man.
And there's a new Mega Man coming out next year?
They canceled it.
No.
What?
Oh, no way.
Yeah, I just heard today is like, so I was scrolling through and it was like, this is another game that is canceled from the Video Game Awards. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I just scrolled past it.
Bad news, Carrie. There's no alliteration there, but it's bad news.
Crappy
Carrie
news,
today.
Carrie.
Oh yes, you did it. Crap news, Carrie.
or Carrie's curse again. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's awful. Okay.
Yeah.
That's going to piss a lot of people off.
That pisses me off. I was looking forward to that. I really was.
Yeah, same.
Send your angry letters to youtube.com/thefox.
Sorry.
It's okay. Not your fault.
Russ, you're the retro guy. Best retro game.
I went with Mega Man Soccer. Just kidding. Super Mario World was my choice. I thought one of you guys were going to pick that too. And it's just like, it is the platformer. And there's so much depth to it and stuff. And it's not my favorite retro game, but the category is best retro game. And that's the one that I can just hand to anybody, I think.
Such a good game. That is
It
such
really
a,
is.
I played the hell out of that game when I got my Super Nintendo, and it was alarming how much more I like. When I was never a big Super Mario fan, I was like, Super Mario, and then Super Mario World came out, and the yellow cape really sold me. I don't know why, but I really love that yellow cape. Like just that inclusion, I was like, yeah,
The movement, like
Yeah,
the
yeah,
traversal
do it
with
forever.
that cape is so
Yeah.
good.
yeah. There's a lot in that that I appreciate. Oh, what's his name? He made Elliot Quest. I forget the guy's name, but he goes pretty in depth on some other stuff, and he has like a whole blog page of like Super Mario World and how the camera moves around based on Mario's movement.
I think
And
I've
it's
seen
like,
that.
yeah, it's really interesting. He like breaks it down to like the science of the game development of Super Mario World, and there's a lot there that is transparent to you as the user, but it really comes out that all the things that they did just make it such a good game.
Very cool.
Bill, I'm going to take that as an opportunity. So the next category, right, is nostalgic childhood game. And so that was my nostalgic childhood game is Super Mario World.
Oh, nice
choice.
Yes. And so like, it does just bring back so many memories. And the thing about that too is that like they're shared memories. And I don't mean like between me and my sister or me and my parents or whatever. I mean like Russ, like me and you know what I mean? Like I didn't know you, but we have shared memories. Oh, your light changed, Bill. That threw me off. But yeah, we have shared memories, right? Of like that time. And so it's kind of crazy. You could just talk to anyone that lived through that time and we're all going to have kind of similar touchstones.
Yeah, like I can't remember which island it's on, but the point where you go into the forest and you're just stuck in a friggin' loop over and over and over until you find the second exit on one of the levels. You guys know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
Like the ghost forest. Like I remember because my brothers and like there was no internet. And my brothers and I didn't have a subscription to Nintendo Power where you could find that information. And so we were just like experimenting with the game until we finally figured our way out of that forest. And it was just like, I feel like everybody has that experience too, because we were so limited with technology at the time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. All right. Nostalgic childhood game. Carrie, what'd you pick?
I chose this one is actually the hardest one for me, believe it or not. Because there's a lot that I could choose from that I was trying to pick. And the one that I went with is a little bit more personal, and I think it's going to be a little bit different for most people, is that I went with Wing Commander. And Wing Commander for me has a better memory because I went into, my dad had bought me a Sound Master 16, not a Sound Blaster 16. Someone open up the door, give me a second.
Oh, okay. Oh, I was like, are you guys hearing people talking?
He's got a party going on, and that's what I thought.
So yeah, I installed the ISA card, installed the drivers, and I was like, 10 when I was doing that, and I had no help. So it's a little bit of a different feeling for me. Like the whole, I wanted it because at like Electronics Boutique or whatever it was at, I saw the demo for it and, sound's working. And I'm like, that's amazing. That's way better than anything. And so that whole experience for me is different. So whenever I take a look at that box art for Wing Commander, it's just like brings me back to installing the card, IRQ ports, the whole thing. So that was my ultimate nostalgia pick.
So, okay. So I picked this one without even really thinking. And now I kind of regret it. So I'm going to say why I picked what I picked. And then I want to I'm changing it in my head afterwards. So I picked Donkey Kong, the original Donkey Kong. And the reason I picked the original Donkey Kong is because when I was very young, my grandmother worked in a bar, right? And she worked in the bar like during the day. So like the real drunken bar flies that would spend all day in a bar, that was where they hung out. And my mom would take me with her to go to that bar, and she would sit at the bar and chat with her mother, and my grandmother would hand me a stack of quarters, and there was a Donkey Kong machine in there, there was a pool table, a Donkey Kong machine, and a shuffleboard. And she would just hand me that, a glass bottle of Pepsi and a packet of Dipsy Doodles, and I would go off into the other room and I would just pump quarters into the Donkey Kong machine, and then she would come in at the end of when my mom and I were leaving. She would take all the quarters back out and just put them back in the register, so I could just play and play and play. So that is a core memory for me. That's like the first time I remember playing a video game. But I really regret that nowhere else on my list is TIE Fighter for the PC. Like Star Wars TIE Fighter. Like as soon as you mentioned Wing Commander, my brain jumped to TIE Fighter, and that's like, oh my God, I should have had TIE Fighter on here somewhere. So I feel like it's getting just an extra shout out because I didn't include it anywhere. But TIE Fighter was so good. I remember playing that game. You go through as you level up in the game, like you get a tattoo on your forearm that keeps getting more and more ornate until eventually you become the hand of the emperor and stuff. And it's just, I loved that game so much. I had a joystick to play it on, and like it was amazing. I loved TIE Fighter. It ran like shit on my computer, but I had it. And such a good damn game. Russ, what about you?
So before I say that, I had to look up what Dipsy Doodles were. I had no idea what you were talking about, but
they're
some
like
sort of
Fritos.
like wavy corn chips. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I also looked up Mega Man Dual Override, that new one, and there's nothing that says it's canceled. So Carrie either's got some inside scoop or maybe we saw something special.
He wasn't on the show last week, so he had an embargo with Capcom, I guess.
Yeah.
Oh boy, this game
You're
better
muted,
not be
man.
canceled.
Yeah, it's all good. So anyway, so my pick for nostalgic. Oh, are you back, Carrie, now?
I'm back. Yeah,
Oh.
I just briefly went through it. So again, I could be completely wrong. And curse
Yeah.
Carrie, crappy news Carrie, whatever, it can go away. So hopefully I am wrong.
Yeah, hopefully. We'll see. Yeah. Anyway, so my nostalgic childhood game was Dragon Warrior for the NES. I think I've talked about it on the show too. It's just like that was my first role-playing game. I had a buddy who had a Nintendo Power subscription the first year, and it came with that game for free. And
Really?
so, yeah, and you got a free game if you subscribed that first year Nintendo Power. And so he had it. Went over to his house. We spent a whole weekend, like we didn't do anything but that. Like we barely slept, you know. And my first role-playing experience, it came with a map in it, like a physical map. So you could pull it out, and you could see everything, and on the other side of the map it showed all the enemies and like their max hit points and their experience and stuff. And once we figured out what a metal slime was, you know, we were just in it. And so yeah, that was just an amazing experience. I was probably 8-9 years old at the time.
Yeah. So so again, I could be wrong here, but I do remember reading up on Dragon Quest in Dragon Warrior, like Dragon Quest being so popular in Japan, that when they made Dragon Quest in Japan, it was so popular. They were like, man, this thing is going to go gangbusters in the US. They're going to love it. And then sales were terrible. And they were like, just include it in Nintendo Power. We got to get rid of all this inventory. That's how I remember it.
Oh.
Yeah. There was a 3-year lag too from the moment it came out on Famicom versus when it came out on the NES.
Yeah.
There's 3-year gap between the two, which is kind of crazy. And so that might have contributed to it as well, because the graphics at the time, I mean, they're fine, you know, but they weren't as good as some other games that were coming out at the time.
Right. Yeah. But yeah, they, as far as I knew, they like Dragon Quest was such a sensation in Japan that they were positive that it was going to sell. So they cranked out a bunch of units and then just were sitting on them. They were like, well, have a Dragon Warrior, I guess.
Have a Dragon Warrior.
Thanks.
All right. Carrie, do you have a copy of Dragon Warrior within arm's reach?
I have it, but it's not arm's reach. It's over there.
Turok's
Yeah,
holding
mine's like
That-
right
that-
here in that shelf.
Oh, nice. Very cool. All right. The last one that we'll talk about for this for this week, and then we'll do the rest of these About Me video game lists in future episodes. So make sure that you subscribe for that. But the last thing that we're going to do for today, or the last thing from this section, is game everyone should play. Rich, I'm going to have you start us off. What is a game that you think everyone should play?
So this is the only other game on my list that I have recency bias for, but I think it's just so approachable for everyone that I have to mention. It's Split Fiction. I think everyone should play this game. It's just one of the most approachable games. It's like Project Hail Mary of games in how approachable it is, right? Like literally anyone can enjoy it. And that's why I picked Split Fiction.
Very cool.
Wow.
Russ, what about you, man?
This is so funny. My pick is like, I want everyone to play it, but it's not a game for everyone, if that makes any sense. And that is BioShock. Like, I think everyone has to play that game, right? But it is so bloody. Like, when I was getting footage for it, I was like, I can't believe I'm going to show this on my own video. You know, like, it's how bloody it is, you know? And so it's like, I can't tell a kid to watch that or play the game, you know? But I think everyone has to play that game. And so that's it's like a walking contradiction choice, but that's my choice.
Yeah. So for me, I picked a game that I think very few people have played, and that's the reason I picked it. Because I think it is. Well, I struggled whether to put this in criminally overlooked or game everyone should play. So I put it in game everyone should play, and that is Firewatch. It's a very short game. It's only about 4 hours long or something like that. I played it all in one sitting.
Yeah.
And then immediately told my wife how awesome it was. And then I said, I'm going to play it tomorrow again. Do you want to watch? And she said, yes. So then I played it all through again. And she was like just glued to the screen because she doesn't like to play games. She just likes to watch games unless it's Dr. Mario. And then she just likes to wreck my freaking face. But Firewatch is so good. It's a great story. And I feel like the way that the story goes feels very real to me. It doesn't feel like, okay, well, we got to wrap this up in the right way, you know? It just felt really good. It's so good. All right. So I've forgotten who I haven't asked yet because there's one more. Is it Carrie?
It's
Carrie.
me.
All right, Carrie.
So, funnily enough, I am in the same boat as Russ. I was debating on BioShock being in here, but I had BioShock in another place, so I didn't want to list it twice. And that's not even fair because this one that I'm going to name is also somewhere else, but it's for another category. So I was like, it's fine. The one that I chose is Portal, but it's the whole series that I think everyone should play. Not just Portal 1 and Portal 2 is a continuation, but Portal is that's a
good game,
fantastic game. That I feel everyone has to play it. And BioShock as well. Like, I'm in complete agreement that the whole story, I think, is like up there for me.
Yeah.
I just want to jump in real quick. I don't remember. I think it was around Christmas time, either this year or last year. My daughter was over and hanging out, and our house was full of people. And my daughter and I were just like, I've had enough. Let's go upstairs and just sit and chill out. And so she came upstairs and I handed her the controller and I handed her Portal. And so she was playing Portal and she was over the moon. She couldn't get enough of it. We sat there and she played the whole thing in one sitting. And then she goes, that was unbelievable. I loved it so much. I go, guess what? There's a second one. And she goes, I'm coming over next week. And so then she came over the next week and I just sat next to her and she played Portal 2. And, awesome. When she got to the end, she was just like, oh my God, I can't believe that happened. Like, the whole Portal is so good. And I can't believe I didn't put it on my list anywhere.
So it's about, like, I think it's bound to happen, like, as we're going. I think we're going to have like lots of things that are similar. For me, Portal 1, I had seen the prototype of Portal that they got from
Vernacular Drop. Is that what it was called?
Yes, Vernacular Drop. I saw the demo for that and I was like, man, this game looks amazing. And it's like, oh, they actually got these people and made a game. It's called Portal and it's coming out next week. And I was like, sick. I can't wait. And I like Valve's making it. I was like so stoked for it. And then playing through it somehow managed to eclipse my hype for it. And that was the thing that really like got me the most, was like how amazing it was. And even Portal 2, like how they managed to have comedy land in these games is unreal. Like how they line you up perfectly so that all the, stuff happens. They really do a tremendous job. So Portals was my game that everyone should play.
Yeah, it's not just that though, but like the point, like in the first Portal, that point where you're just playing along and it just feels like, okay, well, it's a puzzle game. I'm just playing a puzzle game.
Yeah.
And then out of the corner of your eye, you see a gap in the wall and you walk over to it and you're like, what the hell is going on back here? And there's like the cake is a lie stuff written on the wall. And you're like, what is this game? I didn't see this coming. And then the game takes a turn and you're like, okay, this is something really special.
Yeah.
And I'm just
Totally.
so mad it's not on my list anywhere. I feel like I failed. I'm not a real gamer.
So spoiler alert, I don't have it on my list either, but there were so many categories where I was like, maybe Portal, maybe
Yeah.
I'll put Portal
Yeah.
here, but and then I didn't pick Portal, but it is so good. And then like you said, Portal 2, and it introduces like the spray guns. What do you call those? Like the liquid guns with the liquid
Yeah.
surfaces, and
Yeah,
then
I call them the Ghostbuster goop guns.
the goop
Yeah,
guns.
it's just goop.
Yeah.
It's like they speed you up and they do other stuff.
And
Yeah,
then
you
Portal
bounce on
2
them.
multiplayer is like one of the best like co-op games.
Yes,
You could
as a puzzle one,
right?
Yes,
Yeah,
so
so-
good.
Yeah, I
So
was
much
I was
good
going to
stuff.
say that I do have Portal on mine later on, but like the thing I've noticed, now that I've like published mine and the public besides you guys have seen it, like the amount of people who leave comments like, I can't believe you don't like this game. And they just name some game that didn't make my list. But I'm like, I love that game too. Like it's so
That's
hard to
insane.
pick these games.
It is,
People are
yeah,
like, I
it
can't
is.
believe, Russ, you don't like that game? You didn't pick that game? I'm like, I like that game too. You know what I mean? But it's so hard. Like it's a lose-lose. I sort of regret making my video now because I'm just like, man, I really drew a line in the sand and people are mad about it.
Don't
Yeah.
tell me the game, Russ, but did you get any hate for like your overrated? Like was that a point of contention
Oh, yeah.
too?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
okay.
I picked a spicy one, but I was like, I got to be honest, and I was like, this is a game I think is overrated. And I'd say 10% of the comments of all my comments are calling me out for that one. Just
Yeah.
pretty funny. So.
Okay, I can't wait to watch this video, but I have to wait 4
Yeah.
weeks to watch
4
it because we
weeks.
gotta wait a freaking month to find out each other's stuff on this. It's disappointing, and I'm not gonna peek. I'm not gonna look. All right, so that's the bottom row on the what's this website called? Grids.fun. Like down below the like button, there's a link that says show notes, and then it has a link. You click on that link, it's going to take you to the show notes, and then you'll see a link in the show notes. I will say at the end, just remind me, guys, we got to delete our grids out of here so other people can't see our grids, so they have to come back for the next episode.
I could do a paste of just the bottom row.
Yeah, that's what we'll
Yeah.
do. We'll just put our bottom row in there, and just remind me at the end of the show to get that done. But let us know what yours are. There's a link to the community Discord down below. You guys can paste them in the NerdNest channel. Can't wait to see what you guys are putting on yours. And then looking forward to hearing all of your judgments for the choices that we've made. But for now, we're going to move on. And guys, we got to talk about Xbox. And Rich, he was a shit stirrer this week. He was poking the bear. He was dropping things in, starting arguments, and Russ came in and he's like 142 messages. What the hell's happening in our Discord? And I loved every second of it. And all I could say was, Rich, why do you pull this shit when we're not recording?
Right. So I saved some juice for when we're not recording. So
All right, set it up, man. Let's hear all about this because
All
this is
right,
fun
all right.
stuff. I love this conversation.
yeah, so like a lot happened with Xbox, right? So
Holy cow.
before we even get to any arguments, we have to go through all of it, right? And so like Asha Sharma was appointed CEO of Xbox. What was that? In February now? And is it CEO? Is that the right title? I believe
Yes.
so.
Xbox CEO.
Xbox CEO back in February. And up until now, we're now in late April. She's said a lot, but it's sort of been, Carrie, you used this word, but I agree with it, theater up until now, right? Because, she had an initial memo to employees and fans, and that's just words, right? She kind of revealed, Xbox revealed Project Helix, but that had to be in the works since well
Yeah,
before,
oh, yeah.
right? And then And then Xbox killed the "This is an Xbox" campaign, and that was sort of the first tangible thing that you could say maybe was attributable to her. But also, to be fair, this is basically the lowest of low-hanging fruit. It's very easy to kill a campaign that isn't working, right? So essentially, like, all of that stuff has happened, but this week is when I think we got to see the first real moves from Asha Sharma, because Xbox reduced the price of Game Pass. So Game Pass Ultimate goes from $30 a month, $29.99, to $23 a month. I think that's a 23% drop. And Game Pass PC goes from $16.50 to $14 per month, and that's a 15% drop. Of course, what comes with that is that you do not get Call of Duty anymore on day one. But I think for a lot of people, like, big whoop, right? Like, I'd rather get just the Game Pass for a cheaper price. With that, there are also rumors of like an a la carte Game Pass that we've talked about here, but those are just rumors, so we'll leave that. The second move that she did, or that Xbox did this week, was debranding, right? So some time ago, they rebranded from Xbox to Microsoft Gaming, and that caused a stir. And now they're back to Xbox, and this is kind of reminiscent of like the HBO Max thing. They went from HBO Max to
Yeah.
Max to HBO Max again.
Oh,
So
don't forget HBO Go was in there too.
it was in there as well. They had a few different names, right? And so yeah, now Xbox is back to Xbox, and not just that, but the logo is being shown. There's even an acid green version of the logo, which you could call this low hanging fruit too. I kind of differ on that, but we can get to that later. But either way, it's sort of a debrand, right? And then the last thing was the Discord Nitro Starter Edition thing. This is more of a leak, but Asha did announce it on Twitter. Announced that she teased that there was a big partnership in the works with Discord with regard to Game Pass, and then it leaked essentially. And so there's a new Game Pass Starter Edition that Discord Nitro is going to be including, and this Starter Edition has access to 50 games. I don't think we know, or 50 or more games. We don't know necessarily the games that are in there. We just know what we see in the banner, right? So like
the leak, the list of games is also leaked now.
oh, okay,
Oh, is
cool.
Yeah.
So
So you can find it it's definitely on Twitter.
So while we're talking, I'll look that up. All I saw was like Stardew Valley, right?
Yeah.
And this also comes with 10 hours per month of cloud gaming. So that's another thing that's included in this. This also kind of, maybe this is similar to what they're working out with Netflix. We've heard, not rumors, I think it's reported at this point, that they're trying to work something out with Netflix. Maybe this is related to that. But yeah, so that's everything that happened. I think the first question is just like, what do you guys think of these moves? Russ, I feel like I heard the least from you on this. What do you think of these moves from Xbox?
Yeah, I mean, obviously the Game Pass price decrease is like the biggest news for me. Like, I'm always happy to hear that I'm getting more for my money. It went from 30 to 23, and before the price hike, it was 17. So it's still higher than it was before the price hike. But I think 23 is a fair value. And I agree with the Call of Duty thing. It's like, Call of Duty fans are going to buy Call of Duty. They don't want to be, plugged in every month with a fee for everybody. Like, it just doesn't make a lot of sense. So, yeah, I like that. And PC Game Pass also went down, right, from $16.50 to $14. So that's still a great deal. So I'm happy with that. I'm still, just kind of ambivalent about the rest of it. Like, I don't really care until we see some big moves. I think the next thing that I think is going to be in the targets, because I saw some things from like a memo that she sent out, was like rethinking exclusivity. And so that'll be interesting to see how that rolls out. But yeah, otherwise, I think it's fine. It's a good move. It's just an easy move. I think it's probably an easy thing to do. But yeah, I'm happy that it's cheaper.
Yeah, thanks for calling that out. I didn't even mention the memo that she posted to Xbox Wire. So this is a public memo where a lot of that stuff was mentioned. The reason I didn't mention it here, or I didn't even take notes on it, is because, again, it's going back to like what we've seen in these last few months so far. It is just words. So like, I don't know what to make of this "we're reevaluating exclusivity" thing. So I'm curious to see where they land, but I'm kind of going to hold off on judging any of that. Bill, what do you think? Are you on mute?
Sorry, I was typing. I just want to throw in real quick something that I saw over on Resetra. Basically, this was posted somebody was quoting an interview with Asha Sharma, and she was asked about Project Helix and whether or not it's going to have like third-party stores on it. And
Yep.
basically, here's what she said. She says, in response to that, she says, an open platform approach. She was asked, but an open platform approach as with Xbox Ally as well. And then the person who was interviewing her cited Allison's comments about what Microsoft plans for the future with Xbox hardware. And they had been talking about other stores on it. And she says, I wasn't part of those conversations. So we'll make those decisions going forward as a team and with our partners. We'll share more when we can. That, I think, is kind of a big deal, you know, like she basically has said, it feels like she's saying, yeah, that whole thing with Epic Games and Steam being on Xbox, that ain't happening anymore.
That would be a shame.
Right.
Yeah, that would basically the bigger part of Helix for me, and I think a lot of people.
That's the only reason I'm interested in Helix.
Yeah, like that's so. I mean, it would be if that is like, okay, yeah, no, actually, it's just an Xbox again. Then I think that's a wrong choice to make at this particular point.
To be honest, this is the opposite of what I was thinking, right? I was thinking, oh, she's going to revisit exclusivity by meaning we're not going to put our Halo game on PlayStation, right? But I never thought about the idea of, no, actually only Xbox is going to be on the Xbox. You know what I mean? Like that's also an exclusivity thing. That's not the way I wanted to go.
The only way that it works is if they do both. If they say, you know what, no more other stores on Xbox, but we're also not publishing our games in other places. But that's the only way that it works for Xbox.
Didn't she also say that it's Xbox and PC somewhere?
She did. She did. And I can't, this is stuff that I just can't take, like, not seriously in that I think she's lying or anything like that. What I mean is, all I'm hearing is like, nothing's off the table, right? Like I am considering everything is what I'm hearing. That doesn't mean I'm just going to walk this back completely. It just means I'm considering it, not like seriously considering it, but like I am asking the question of what would it take to walk this back? And my team is probably telling me it doesn't work and then I won't do it, right? Like she's just listening to all of these opinions and thoughts and taking that in and then she'll make a decision.
And it was super non-committal, you know, like her answer was very like, it's like if if somebody asks you if you want to hang out and you're like, oh yeah, we'll talk about that.
Yes. It could also be that she just literally doesn't know anything about it. And they're like, oh, so is it going to play Steam games? And she's like, I don't know what Steam is. No one talked to me about this. So we're going to figure that out at a later time.
I don't think that she's been in this job for 2 months and doesn't know what Steam is. I don't know, man. I can see her not knowing what Steam is at the beginning because she's not a gaming person. But you don't have the job that she has for 2 months and not know what Steam is.
Maybe.
I agree with Bill, but I understand your point, Carrie.
Yeah, like it's to her, like what is, I'm not saying she could be vaguely aware of someone saying Steam, but then she could be listening to people. Like there are people who are like, oh, it's going to be a PC as well. And she's like, okay. And then she goes to this interview and they're like, oh, you're going to let Steam be on it? And she's like, I heard Steam, but I didn't fully conceptualize what it actually means. So I can't say anything here. So I have to say that I actually haven't had a conversation about it. I don't know how actually in depth she is with this. I'm just saying that could be a possibility. Not that it is what it is. I'm just saying that it could be another alternative.
So
I derailed us. So pick up where you wanted to leave off there, Rich.
Bill, did you have any thoughts on these moves? Let's go there.
So I think it's much better to not use Microsoft Gaming. Xbox is a much better brand. Absolutely. Microsoft Gaming, terrible brand. And you nailed it. It's the HBO Max HBO Go of the video game industry. Like what a stupid move. Lowering the price of Game Pass. Can I get a hell yeah? Because screw Call of Duty. I think I've played a Call of Duty once and I was like, that was kind of cool. And then I never played it again. forcing that into Game Pass and raising everybody's price. The only way that was fine with me is if it was another tier that was just Call of Duty, and that was like, is everything else is in there and Call of Duty. That's the top tier. Sure, have that version. I don't care. I'm perfectly happy with them lowering the price and getting rid of Call of Duty. Although I will say I don't think it's as cheap now as it was before they raised it to $30. Am I wrong about that?
It used to be 17. It came out at 15, then it went up to 17, then it went up to 30. And so it went back now to 23 or whatever.
Yeah, so it's still too expensive, I think. But I'm still considering it. But we could talk more about that in a second.
Yeah.
And then I forgot what other point you were asking about, Rich, but I think I said what I think about it.
Yeah, well, the next question I had, and Carrie, I'll go to you for this one. I think so there were parts where all four of us kind of, I would say three of you agreed and I was sort of on an island in terms of like, I'm not ready to judge her is basically where I stood, right? But one thing we all agreed on was we would not see Asha's moves like in 6 months, right? Like probably 2 years, right? And I feel like I feel like we're seeing it now. Do you feel that way, Carrie?
So yes and no. And I think we should break it down into a few different things. I think ultimately what's obvious is the Game Pass price change. And for sure, I think I don't know if I could see her like looking over the prices of this and being like talking with everyone and be like, all right, what can we do here? And remove Call of Duty from there. I could see her having that as be the yes, no, of her having the ultimate decision on that, especially with all the feedback that she's been getting. So I would say that 100% that is her choice that she ultimately elected on, looking at all of the different factors. So from my biggest thing here is, especially with the conversation that we're having is like, who, like, we need to define like who had what, who did what, and like who owned what. And there's parts here that I feel like, because I am still in the mindset of her doing that. How do you do, fellow gamers? Here is my gamer score,
right?
As like coming in, and for me, all of what's happening right now is still under the umbrella of PR to give Asha her win. And it has worked spectacularly. There are so many people that are like, wow, things are actually changing at Xbox. I do think it's massively disrespectful. So do you think that Phil Spencer was the person that wanted to change the name from Xbox to Microsoft Gaming?
I don't know.
Strawman. I'm calling it out immediately, buddy. Immediately.
That's fine.
Listen,
I'm just
asking a question. All right, are we doing it now? Let's do it now.
Yes, do it. Right.
Yes. Let's do it now. Okay. So I'm scrolling down to my notes. Here's the thing, right? Like everybody has a boss. Satya has a boss, right? Like Satya's board members are his boss, right? Like the point isn't like my boss said I need to do this, and so I did it, right? Like that to me is feckless, right? Like that's not the point, right? Whether or not Phil had pressure is not a question to me. Phil has pressure. Asha will have pressure. I believe that. And there's no, I think the other thing too, like, and we can talk about this, is what is each of our point? Because my point has nothing to do with Asha is better than Phil. I have no idea, right? Correct. There is no way for me to know that. But what I get from the arguments that you and I have had on Discord is like, there's nothing Phil could have done. Phil did the best he could. No one would have done better. And I don't feel that way at all. And when I think of, let's say Bobby Kotick, right? He did not stand up to his shareholders despite their demands. But when I think of Iwata stood up to his shareholders despite their demands, right? And so whatever demands that Satya and Amy had of Phil, I think Phil didn't do enough of a good job of keeping the Xbox brand as something that people that were already fans of Xbox, not people that, you know, were PC players and, you know, started like you say of yourself, right? Like started coming back to Xbox because of Game Pass, but people that were already Xbox fans, he disillusioned, or Xbox during his tenure disillusioned so many of them that maybe you could argue that he grew an audience, but he lost so many fans that net just hurt Xbox as a brand is what I see.
That's fine. I'm not even disagreeing with that. I'm just like outside of the straw man, knowing Phil Spencer, like how he is. For me, Phil Spencer bleeds green. So
Sure.
the idea, yeah, but the idea of, hey, you need to change this name from Xbox to Microsoft Gaming, I'm sure that actually hurt him. But there's also battles that he had to give up to get some of the other things that he wanted. Like, I think Game Pass was his baby, and he did a lot. He had to sacrifice a lot to get the things that he wanted, like the dollar subscription thing, so that they can get a big growth thing. Like, Microsoft had to take that on the chin for a while. And then when they put Call of Duty, I'm sure he had to go up there and they're like, well, you got to do this now. So I feel like there's battles that were there. The only reason that I bring that up is that I don't think that it was Phil that was driving, we need to change the name from Xbox to Microsoft Gaming. I don't believe that Phil did that. I think that he was just like, okay, we'll do that. And he didn't push back on it. And you can say he should have pushed back on it, which I will agree with. But ultimately, my point is that I don't think Phil was the impetus for moving that. And then Asha's like, we're actually doing the return of Xbox. And I'm like, damn, that is dirty work to put all that of like, actually all of this crap, everything is owned entirely by Phil. And yes, he should have pushed back. 100% he should have pushed back on a lot of things. But I don't know what that was. I have no idea what is going on there. And so there's like things that I want to say that like Game Pass, 100% that's on Phil. Call of Duty on Game Pass, I believe that's Phil. He came in 2014 when he was actually in charge of what was left of Xbox One. There's lots of things that you can like say, like he was there with Halo 5 was still in development and didn't get it back on track, right? He didn't be like, hey guys, actually you're like destroying Halo. Can you cut it out? He didn't do that. And that's on him. That is 100% on him. They just let 343 Studios go nuts, do what they were going to do. And he's like, okay, you guys, I trust you. We're going to let you lead. And they just destroyed Halo. And that is on Phil because he gave them leeway to go do that. And I think that was the wrong decision. So I do blame Phil for that. But there's like certain things that when you look at them, and it's like, I don't think that was there. So when I see this, that's the only thing I'm trying to say is like, let's go into, so Asha's thing of like going down in price, I think that is Asha's decision, and it's fixing one of the things that Phil did absolutely wrong by pushing it to $30. 100%. I'm going to be in agreement there. So it's like, that's the only thing that I think that we should establish. And you can say this is all straw man and whatnot. I will find where I agree with you on certain things, but there's certain things where I give in to my wife because sometimes I want to win the war and not the battle.
Right.
The war with his wife.
But I'm just saying, there's lots of things that I'm just like, okay, I'll do that. Like, I don't agree with this, but I'm going to just align with you on this just because it's going to be the smoother passage for me to worry. Like, I will fight on this, but this thing I'm not going to fight anymore. I'm not going to do that. And that's where I think this is.
Yeah, I think just as the middle guy here between this, the way I'm looking at it is that, we can't really assign blame or credit to these folks because they're not the actual like head of Microsoft, right? Like we can't liken it to like, the Steve Jobs era, the Tim Cook era of Apple, right? Like that person's in charge. They are actually making those calls. Whereas with Phil and with Asha too, they're both having to report to their boss, and they're trying to work among that. There's a chain of command, right? And so it's really hard to speculate what was their own influence and what was something that they were making a concession for. But I will say that for me, just in my background, right, I spent a couple tours where I was a senior enlisted leader at a site or a command. So that's like your top E9, right? Your most highly ranked enlisted person. You're not the one making decisions. You're there to keep, everyone cared for and everything else. But the officers, those actually in charge, they're the ones making the decisions. And I saw a lot of regime changes because you don't transfer at the same time as the other one, right? So sometimes I have a different boss. And it was really interesting because, of course, with chain of command, there's people above them too. But the thing about it is that sometimes when new blood comes in and they offer an insight that may have been the same insight as the last guy, all of a sudden it's more receptive. And all of a sudden it's like, okay, let's go that route. And so that's what I thought when I saw the Game Pass price going down, changing back to Xbox and stuff. I thought, okay, she's probably saying the same thing that Phil did, but it's getting a different reception now because she's coming from the outside in and saying, this is what I'm observing right now. And so I think that might be an element to it as well, is just this idea that they may have had the same goals, the same ideas, but potentially in their chain of command, that's where the reception's actually happening differently.
Yeah, I feel like, Rich said we should all like give what is our point? What is the point that we're trying to make? And previously when we talked about Phil's retirement, when they first announced Asha Sharma that was taking over and that he was on the way out, I specifically said, I don't see anything changing because I just assume that Satya Nadella is the one that's giving Phil his marching orders, and he's the one that is doing all of this stuff. Like, he's the one that says $30 Game Pass, raise the price of the Xbox whatever edition to $800 freaking dollars, like that kind of thing. Like, I assumed that he was the one that was making those decisions. But then to see a lot of the stuff that happened under Phil's leadership start changing, it makes me think maybe it wasn't Satya Nadella that was making those decisions. Maybe it was Phil that was making those decisions. And if he was the one that was making those decisions, like raising the price of Game Pass to $30 and forcing like Fortnite bullshit in there and like all the other things that they did to make Game Pass not as valuable, because when Game Pass came out, every single person who was on the internet was constantly saying Game Pass is the best deal in gaming. Like, I cannot tell you how many times that I've said that Game Pass is the best deal in gaming, right up until it wasn't anymore. And that was a decision that happened under Phil. I, in the past, attributed that to Satya. But now I think maybe it wasn't him. Maybe it was Phil, and Satya was just like, no, you do that if you want. We want you to make Xbox as a business, and you got to make money. So if that's what you got to do to make money, you go right ahead. But I think it alienated so many people that now Asha comes in and she's like, we got to get rid of this. The Game Pass is too expensive. And they're like, yeah, you know what? You're right. Game Pass is too expensive. So I don't know who is to blame. Russ is perfectly reasonable thing to say. We don't know who is to blame. Yeah, we don't know. But I doubt that it's Phil less than I did before. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but hasn't the environment changed a little bit too? Like, didn't I'm just seeing scattered stuff, right? But wasn't one of the other things that came out this week that that Xbox may no longer be beholden to that 30% profit thing the rest of Microsoft is being beholden to? So it feels almost like the environment may be different. And so instead of saying, you guys got to make 30%, and that's where your $30 a month of Game Pass is coming from, now they're like, oh, let's not do the 30% thing anymore for you guys. It doesn't make sense in the industry. And then they're like, okay, now we can drop Game Pass. So to me, it feels almost like the environment changed too, not just the leadership.
Yeah, there's one other thing and then I can tell Carrie wants to say something. But I just want to say something real quick. Microsoft has done a lot of shit that they're walking back, like Copilot stuff. Like stuff that has nothing to do with Xbox. Microsoft has done a lot of stuff where they're like, you know what? We've heard you. We pissed everybody off. We're going to pull back on that. And I do appreciate that.
Rich, really quick. I'm going to very, very quickly. So I am in agreement with like everything. So Bill, to your point, and Russ, to your point, for me, I think that there's a lot of things that were conflicting, but there ultimately, I would say anything that had to do with Game Pass, for me, I would square on Phil myself, because I think Game Pass was his baby, and everything that he wanted to do, like Fortnite, Call of Duty, he's going to have these huge tentpole stuff inside of Game Pass, right? And for him, like, I mean, that's like his, like, you know, this is what I have created, right? You have everything. All the big platforms are now inside of Game Pass. And I do think that, like you're saying, Bill, is like, okay, you can do that, but it's going to be $30 a month now. And he's like, go. Like, we need to go there. So I do think that decision was ultimately on Phil. Anything with Game Pass, I would square on Phil myself. Last thing I'll say is that insofar as that 30% profit margin thing, the release of that part, I do not say that, I'm not saying that this makes it easier for Asha forever, because once this honeymoon period ends, that also got latched onto Phil as well. So at some point, they're going to be like, hey, Asha, actually our profit margins need to be 30% again. And they could just do the same thing to Asha. So it's not like forever she won't have this.
Right.
But for right now, things are different.
Yeah. I am a little dubious by the 30% thing. So here's why I'm dubious. There are a couple angles here. One of them is, where does that 30% number come from? The only source we have for that is Jez Corden, whom I greatly respect, right? I don't want to sound like I'm tarnishing Jez Corden. I think Jez Corden is an excellent reporter. But my point is, maybe that's a single data point, right? That he may have gotten that from. And he's also the only person that's reported that pressure is gone, right? So he's the only person that's reported that pressure existed in the first place, and the only person that's reported that it's gone. So, like, where's that information coming from? Not to say that he hasn't gotten that information from somewhere, but just, you know, how factual that is, I am a little bit dubious, and I think I'm you know, within my right to,
That's fair
be
enough.
so, right?
Yeah.
That said, assuming it does exist, does anyone believe that the moves Asha is making, that the moves Xbox is making, will lead to a smaller profit margin than before?
Well, it depends, right? It's going to depend on a few things. Specifically that whole exclusivity thing, right? Like, will Gears of War E-Day...
Let's focus just on Microsoft Gaming to Xbox, debranding that, Game Pass Starter Edition, and Game Pass going from $29.99 to $22.99. Things that we know happened. Do any of those sound less profitable than before?
Initially, yes. Because it's going to require everyone that stopped being subscribers at $30 to now resubscribe at $23, which I don't know if they will. So that they're not going to be losing $7 a month. There may be some wash in there. How the Discord Nitro thing works out, like what kind of money they can get out of Discord, that's going to be a bonus, because effectively that's like free money to them.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think ultimately it's probably going to be a bit less until there's an equilibrium. Initially, is what I would say.
Okay. For me,
I try never to disagree with Kerry when he's right. And most of the time I disagree with Kerry, but I agree.
I feel like even a bit less, right? Like that's pretty good. If that's all she's losing is a little bit less, if that's all Xbox is losing is a little bit less.
Right.
Because you're getting the positive PR is worth more than the money you're losing.
Humongous.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So that's ultimately was my actual point of this, is that everything that we're seeing right now has been nothing but a continuation of the failed, hey, let's give Asha a win. And she came in with the, how do you do, fellow gamers? And everyone was like, yeah, okay. And then now has like stuff that she has done, and people are like, oh, okay. And if you take a look at sentiment across message boards, across everything,
way up.
So what?
Way up. The sentiment
exactly,
is way up.
Yeah. So people are there. First off, there's lots of people that really disliked Phil Spencer. Her doing this stuff has already given her a feather in her cap.
But we can't. I mean, people immediately disliked Asha way more than Phil.
That's
We
because she
can't
came
use
from her
that.
background. Her background came from AI. So myself included, I just
Right.
assumed that she was in here to go like, co-pilot, everything.
Yeah.
Look under your chairs, everybody. Co-pilot's under there. And
Phil Spencer definitely
maybe
had a
that'll
good
happen, but who knows?
honeymoon period when he first entered. He had like a red carpet entrance. I remember everyone being real happy with Phil Spencer initially, and then it was slowly started to like sour on like some different stuff. Which whatever, fine, no problem. So my only point here is, and the thing I'm trying to address here is that I still do not feel, especially with the timing of everything and these supposed lease on freedom, that this is more of let's give Asha a win, right? Let's give her a win, and then once we secure that, then we can worry about the rest. And that's all I think that this was designed to do initially. Like, let's figure out a way to do that.
When do you call that time up? And
it now.
Okay, so any move after this is not PR.
Any move after this is not PR. So, like, if we see, for instance, if we see Gears of War E-Day not coming to PS5, I'm going to say that's an Asha move. Yeah. Like, that's Asha's, like, a thing that, you know, I'm going to say no to PS5 and that. It's just going to be PC and Xbox.
Has that been announced that it's coming to PS5 already?
I don't know, but I think that it was, like, in the air that it was coming. Let me take a look.
The reason I ask is because, like, I mean,
Halo
if that's
was
the
right.
case, ship might already be signed. Like,
right,
there's
but like
contracts.
Halo was as well. Yeah, Halo was as well. And if Halo gets pulled back 100%, I'm going to say that's an Asha move. Like,
I'd be surprised if that happens, though. But yeah, that would definitely be her.
Yeah, but that would, because especially she's already said that, like, actually exclusives are back on the table again. Like she's mentioned, like, basically said in so many words, is like, we are now going to actually pay attention to this. We have the whole return to Xbox thing, and there is this palpable feeling of a lot of people talking about exclusives on Xbox, which I don't really get because it's going to be on PC as well. So I don't know what the deal is. I don't care. It doesn't matter to me, but people are making a big deal about it. But if it doesn't get on PS5, we just had Starfield on there, and the numbers for it, even though it was like the most selling game recently on PlayStation, the numbers weren't very good insofar as like how much money they made. So maybe she's going to use that, right? She'll be like, actually, you know what? This is just weakening Xbox. Why are we doing this? So let's just be on PC because Helix is going to be PC.
Yeah.
Right. That I would say at this point going forward, now Asha has her win. Now it's going to be, okay, let her make some decisions and then see where it goes.
Rich, you asked earlier, you said, you know, how long is it, or like, how can we tell when Asha's moves are up? I don't know the answer to that, but what I do know is that when Phil was in charge, he was out there saying Game Pass is our identity. And now she's saying Xbox is our identity.
I'm not going to lie. That feels good even to me as someone who doesn't, right. I don't have any interest in buying an Xbox. That just feels good to hear Xbox as like, oh yeah, that's the identity.
Exactly. And the thing that like, how many times have I said on this show, Xbox is not the platform anymore. The platform is Game Pass. Yeah. I've said it 1,000 times. Like, that's what Microsoft was going for. They were like, we're done with dedicated hardware. We don't really care about that. We'll keep making it because it satisfies a certain subset of our audience. But our real platform is this subscription. That's what they've been doing this entire generation.
So I've never felt like so Game Pass, especially Game Pass Core, is required to play games online, and that is a significant portion of people like Core, which no one cares because there's no first party games in there at all anymore. So there's still Core users, and they need an Xbox console to continue to do that. So it's always, I've never felt, I do agree with you that Game Pass was the platform, like Roblox and Fortnite are platforms. But 100%, they still needed the hardware, because if they didn't have the hardware, no one's getting this on PC. Like, PC is some percentage of Game Pass, but it's not the majority.
That makes sense. Carrie, if your ultimate point, right, and this is what happens when we debate, right? Like if we just focus on the things we actually mean, like we agree, right? Because if your point is like,
Always.
right, right, if your point is that like this is still PR, and there is a we'll see what happens after the PR. Certainly, yeah, like 90% of this has just been PR, and I don't mean this week. I mean, these last 3 months, like 95% of this has just been PR. I think the Game Pass move is a big one. But I'm giving that 5% right now compared to everything else that has happened since Asha took over. My points, and I think you'll agree too, right, is number one, it's too soon to judge Asha. Like I just, it's way too soon. Number two, she's making her stamp sooner than I expected. And number three, the only place where I think you might disagree is Xbox needed a shakeup. I think where they were going, they were just treading water at best. And maybe they get worse from here, but I don't know. I think they needed to do something for them to have a chance to be like back to what they once were.
Yeah. So for me, everything that so if you look at some of the words that she's saying that Xbox is we're going to like do the core stuff next year. And next year is when Helix comes out. And for me, Helix is basically actually where Microsoft has an actual opportunity, because it's also a PC, where this thing could explode, like have escape velocity outside of just people that want to play on Xbox, right? Because it's going to be a PC as well. There's a significant portion of people that play on console that kind of don't want to play on PC because they've had problems in the past and they've been burned by it, and they just don't want to mess with it because it's a constant recurring thing. Like, oh, you're just going to have problems with that. You're just going to have this, that, and the other. So if Microsoft sells a box that is crazy performant and very inexpensive, who knows? I say inexpensive, right? But we're talking about minimum $1,000, right? Like,
but he means inexpensive for what you're getting.
Yeah.
Yes,
Competitive.
for
competitive.
Yeah. Yes, it's exceedingly competitive. Also, when you look at it from that angle, the PS3 was competitive for what was out for PCs at the time. And the 360 was as well. The 360 at $400 was a next generation GPU that wasn't coming out till 2005. Yeah. And then it was also cheaper by like half. So you were kind of in that same area with Helix, where we're getting RDNA 5. It's not as, it's catching up to the 5080. Regardless, I think the wording that you're saying is like, we're going to see the growth, the new spinning is, she's specifically saying next year, and next year is the launch date for Xbox Helix.
Right.
So that's where I'm like, well, what does she mean? Because if she is like, because she's talked about the hardware, and for me, Xbox Series is kind of like dead, right? Like no one's buying any more hardware. Right. They're not selling anymore. They're too expensive. RAM and other things and all the just-in-time stuff makes it too expensive. So it's a hard sell regardless. Like for me, like a thing that she could do, like she has said that there's going to be updates on Xbox. One thing that they could do, since it's at the tail end of the generation, they could just upclock the GPU on the Series S and the Series X to make it better, right? Like there is so much headroom on the Series S that it's actually ridiculous. At 1.5 gigahertz is barely nothing. So going up to like 2 gigahertz, you would get a significant performance increase and not doing anything. It's like, oh, your Series S is now 25% better. Have a great day. And you still have all that the profiles of Series S, but that's the thing. That's a whole other thing, and I digress. I apologize. Ultimately, for me, I think we're going to see from Asha in the immediate term is exclusives and what that means. If she pulls back Halo from PS5, I'm going to say that's an Asha move.
All right. Fair.
Yeah.
Well, I wrote questions. One of the questions I feel like I really want to get an answer to from you guys: is the new price of Game Pass low enough that you are willing to resubscribe to it at this point?
So I would only do the PC one if I didn't have what I have now. I would only do the PC because I only play on PC at this point.
Yeah.
Every Game Pass game I'm playing right now is on my console PC. So I haven't really turned on my Xbox, so I don't really need Ultimate.
Yeah, that's a good point. $14 for PC Game Pass per month.
Yeah.
That's not bad. I know the price will continue to go up, and as so far I just continue to like to be someone that quote unquote owns my games. I know there's enough debate about whether or not I own Steam games, and I know it's a license, but I enjoy that license at least more than Game Pass, and so it just doesn't work for me personally.
Russ?
I don't know. I've kind of moved on at this point. You know, my heart has moved on. And so it's hard for me to like kind of be like, okay, $23, I can do that, you know, because I've gone through and started to systematically buy those games that I was playing on Game Pass on Steam. You know, it's like I might as well just get it forever. And so
Yes.
that was the value for Game Pass with me. Is like I don't have to buy this game, I can just play it right now. And there's nothing that's moving that needle for me. If there's a future game, maybe, but yeah, I'm not seeing it. I don't think it moves the needle for me. I'm happy that it's now cheaper, but I don't know. I think it would need to be under $20 for me to make it a viable monthly payment.
Let me ask you guys a question real quick. Do you think with Nitro, the increase in subscribers that would get it through Discord Nitro, will they like have fanfare about that? Will they be like, hey, Game Pass is that?
No,
How many people
no.
subscribe to Discord Nitro?
So
I don't
the
know.
reason I'm going to say no is only because in that Xbox Wire post, I think it's in that post, she said they're no longer like their North Star metric is no longer
It's daily.
right. It is no longer subscribers. So
Right.
meaning, right, like yes and no, right? Like so they're not going to use this to say all of a sudden they have 50 million subscribers. But if people are actively using Game Pass more, then yes, it does contribute to that metric. But I guess my point is rightfully so, right? Like it's not fudging the metrics because someone subscribes to Discord Nitro that now all of a sudden you count a subscription. You're counting them because they're actively using the service. And I think that's a fair, I like that metric more personally.
The other thing that I want to talk about, and it kind of soured me a little bit on it because now that I actually gave the link in this chat in this Riverside.
I'll put it up on screen while you talk. Go ahead.
It's the list of games that are in the starter pack.
Yeah.
What do you like? For me, the whole Netflix deal of like, oh, what would you get if Netflix includes the starter? I'm gonna be like, oh, that's kind of crap. Like I don't care.
Yeah,
about
the
that.
list of games is pretty disappointing. I think maybe what you said is true, right? Like whatever they get out of this is a bonus. And so like if people end up firing this up because that's how, you know, they didn't have access to Slay the Spire and now they do, that's a bonus for them.
Right. Yeah. For me, it's like for Nitro, we also were, I think we all collectively were. You know, I had someone that reached out to me and they're like, why is everyone saying this? I wanted Game Pass to give me Discord Nitro. And I'm like, I don't want that. I don't want my Game Pass money going to something that I don't care about.
No.
And when I found out it was the reverse, I was like, oh, that's actually much better. Like, I don't have Nitro and I don't care about this starter pack.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, someone reached out to me. He's real upset. I guess he wanted to, you know, no longer pay for Discord Nitro, and he's a Nitro user, but he's also has Game Pass.
I think, you know, even aside from the games, if the 10 hours of cloud gaming is game independent, meaning you can just play whatever's on gaming on their xCloud, that
Probably,
I mean, like if it's
probably
free
from that list,
right? No, I assumed that's where I was like, oh, maybe it's anything on xCloud.
No, it's just that list.
Okay.
Yeah.
Never mind.
So sorry, it's that list, but it should if you have a Play Anywhere title that is also in there, that should be there. All game that you purchased.
Got it.
It would actually make more sense for the cloud part of it to be a part of the Netflix bundle rather than anything else, like playing cloud through Netflix, the app. That would make more sense to me.
Yeah.
I think I see this as a good benefit for those who use Discord Nitro, but it's not gonna push me to get Discord Nitro, I don't think, you know. And it's the games that are listed here. I mean, sure, there's some good ones. I think Slay the Spire is a good, like, people are gonna see value in that, you know. But like they've got Halo 5 and they've got Halo Wars 2, and those are the only Halo games. So you want to play Halo Infinite, like the campaign, can't do that here. And you
also, Halo 5 is only on Xbox, right?
Yeah.
It's not on PC, so you need an Xbox to even play that.
Right.
Or
good point.
you're streaming it from...
Or streaming it.
Oh, the cloud.
Yeah,
Yes,
like you
that's
might
the
like. I wonder if you're watching. Well, no, because this is from Discord.
Mhm.
Because I was thinking you could be watching Netflix and they could have like an Xbox logo someplace. You could click on it and then play a game from
right.
the cloud.
That'd be.
That'd be
I don't
fun.
know if Netflix would want that.
They should
Well, it
have
seems like
included
they're backing
Master
away
Chief
from their
Collection.
Netflix games, you know, like they,
Right. Yeah.
and so maybe that's what they're going to go with instead. And
It would
Yeah.
it would at least have like some bridge of making sense from the person's point of view, where it's like, oh, I'm in Netflix, and I can play Xbox games, and they just stream to me. Oh, that's cool. I could kind of see that
Right.
as the actual vehicle. Like, it's not actually it's Game Pass only for cloud, so to speak.
right.
Maybe if xCloud was good, but it's
Yeah, it's not
not.
going to get good until Xbox Helix. Xbox Helix, they're going to need Xbox Helix hardware with the new encoders for it to get better.
Yeah. Well, Rich, did we wrap this up or is there more?
We covered everything, man. All the things.
And we still have more to talk about that's not Xbox related. But let us know what you guys think. Who's right? We all argued for the last, I don't know how long.
I think we're all in agreement.
Well, come on. It's no fun. It's more fun if there's a winner. Anyway, let us know what you guys think in the comment section down below. And I want to jump to a quick game of true or false. The way true or false works is I post a thing over on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/NerdNest. Subscribe, turn on the bell so you see that stuff. And I ask you for an idea that you say, you just give us a thing that you think could happen, and we say whether or not we think it's true that it will happen or false that it won't happen. And we got 3 that I went through and picked out of here. And the first one comes from Geo2062. They said Lenovo will drop out of the handheld PC market in 2026. And I think that they're asking that because we saw a crazy price hike for, first off, we had the Lenovo Legion Go 2 that got its price hike. And then but now we have the Lenovo Legion Go S, which I think is the one that most of us daily drive for a handheld because it's got that big ass screen and it's pretty comfortable. It's a really nice system. That is now $1,600. I'm rounding up a tiny bit. There's tax. $1,600. When that thing came out, how much did that cost?
It's like 700 or 800, right?
Yeah. Like, this is wild to me. Do you guys think Lenovo is ditching handhelds altogether and there's just like, we'll just raise the prices and if we sell them and whatever? Russ?
I'll start. I think that this is the last Lenovo generation of handhelds, unless something drastically changes in the market. So I would say this is true that the thing is dropping out of the handheld PC market in 2026. I don't know when they're going to actually stop manufacturing, stop selling, but I do think this is the last Legion Go handhelds that we're going to see unless something changes. I don't think when they increase the prices this much, I just think they're not interested in making new handhelds at this point.
Yeah, I saw the same thing. So I recently made a video about the ASUS ROG G70, which is kind of like the Nook, right? That thing was supposed to cost $2,600. But then it is a lot. Mm-hmm. It's not $2,600 anymore, Russ. Russ, I would like to hear what you think that system now costs.
What is that's the one that has the AMD chip, the CPU, but then it has, what's the GPU in that?
5070.
Mobile, right?
Yes. Yeah. Mobile.
Yeah. So
64 gigs of RAM.
3,200.
Okay. Carrie, what do you think it costs?
Which one is this?
The
ASUS
ROG G70. It's basically like an ROG Nook.
It's the silver looking one.
With a 5070?
With 5070 mobile.
Yeah, it's going to be up there. I'm going to say 25.
Okay. So originally it was supposed to be 2,600.
Yeah.
But then I got a message from ASUS. Rich, tell them how much it is.
$39.99.
Oh my
Oh,
goodness.
Right?
$4,000 PC.
$49.99.
Right. And I think, like, look, I'm sure that ASUS didn't want to do that. Just like I don't think Lenovo wants to sell these things for what they're selling for. But I think for the amount of research and development that they put into these things, and now the prices of the materials are so high, and they're not
Yeah.
popular devices, so they can't buy all of these parts in bulk like they can
Mhm.
with with other stuff. I think that they were just like, well, I think we're screwed. Let's just set it at $4,000. And
Yeah.
this the same thing with Lenovo. Well, I think we're screwed. It came out at $600 and now it's $1,600. Like this has got to stop. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
You know, it's funny. When I
Yeah.
saw your thumbnail this morning, I was like, oh, Bill got this thing. They said they were going to send me that. Like, I talked to them at CES. I was like, yes, I'll do a review on this thing. I'm interested, right? And then they like stopped talking to me. And I was like, oh, it must be because they know I'm going to harp on that price. And they were just like, no, we'll just skip Russ this time around. We don't
I think I spent 2 full minutes talking about the price in my video.
Yeah,
because
I would have done
it's
20
crazy.
probably. Yeah. That's crazy. Yeah, it's too high. It's unobtainium at that point. You know, it's either they're just trying to like say, hey, look, it's still in stock, you know, or whatever they're trying to do. I don't even know, but it's too much.
Yeah,
Right.
and
So go ahead, Rich.
well, I was just saying, I don't know about everyone else, but I'm just so like, I don't need hardware that bad, right? Like, and I know I can say that I'm spoiled right now, but I can say that even in my worst, right? I don't need hardware that bad. Like, I'll take a single console or a single like, you know, mid-range GPU and ride that thing into the dirt, and that's okay with me. No problem. Like, I don't need to spend thousands of dollars.
I could buy a beater car here in Hawaii for $4,000. You know what I mean?
Right.
My son is 17. He's about to get his license. I could get him a car instead of getting this little computer.
The thing that gets, like, when we're talking about these outrageous prices, it seems even more foolish for AMD to not just enable FSR4 through their Int8 emulation path for RDNA 2 and RDNA 3 in their driver, because everyone knows it already works. Like, people hack it in left, right, and center. And if no one's buying new hardware and they just have all this old stuff, they really should reconsider just like, hey, you know what? It's hard times right now, so we're just going to like enable this for everyone, because these prices are legitimately insane.
Right. It's honestly, it makes me think of the Switch dock mode, like Switch 2 dock mode, where like, you know what, you can now, like a software update, and now you're allowed to play your Switch 1 games in docked mode in handheld mode on the Switch 2. It's like that was a cool thing they did for everybody. They didn't have to do that. It didn't make them any money, but that's the kind of thing that, I'd like to see AMD do too.
Yeah. The thing is like the question from, I scrolled down, Geo 2062, Lenovo.
I'm going to say true on it.
Yeah, we'll get back to that in just a second, the trues and falses. It just makes me wonder if all of these things are going to vanish. Steam Decks have been out of stock for how friggin' long now? Lenovo is raising their prices so high that ain't nobody going to buy that stuff. ASUS is doing the same thing with these mini PCs. I don't know if we're going to see them do the same thing with it's weird because we did see the the ROG Ally like was on sale or something. I can't remember which one. I think it was the Xbox Ally, the white one. I think that one was on sale recently, and I was like,
oh yeah, for 500.
I was floored. I was like, what? Something got cheaper? That's crazy. So I just wonder if all of these things will simply vanish. Are we going to see the Steam Deck even come back? I don't know. It's if they just can't get the parts, it's crazy. So, Carrie, you said it's true. Lenovo's ditching.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with what Russ is saying. Is like, this is just like them. They're just like, you know what? ASUS might be winning this out of the ODMs insofar as like, you know, the presence that I've seen more ASUS allies than I have seen Lenovo Legion Go's out in the wild. So anecdotally, I think that from that angle, and then now these prices are just like in the stratosphere. So from what Russ says, and I'm going to agree, is that, maybe not this year, but this is like unless something happens where things can temper down and they can make something, they're going to be out of it for quite a while.
Yeah, I was talking to, I won't say who I was talking to. I was talking to somebody and they said they had sources that were like, this RAM shit ain't stopping anytime soon. anytime soon. Rich, do you think Lenovo's dropping out of the handheld PC market in 2026?
Yes. I also think, they're any company is probably going to come back as soon as, things look nice again. But that also feels like you just alluded to, like how soon is that, right? Like that, maybe that's 2028. And even then, it's going to take Lenovo a year or two. So effectively they're out, right? They're not coming back for a couple of years.
Yeah, I agree with that. And so I'm going to say, I think that the panel agrees. This is true. All right. Beto 2D said, will the Switch 2 get a price increase this year? We've seen a price increase from Xbox multiple times. We've seen price increase from PlayStation multiple times. Everything's getting more expensive all of the time. The Switch 2 sitting pretty at $450. Do you guys think it's going to stay that way? Or do you think that we're going to start seeing more expensive Switch 2s out there? Russ, I'm going to start with you, man.
I don't think they can last a whole another 8 months. I think it's going to have to come up this year. My guess would be it would come out late summer. It would have a price increase, and then maybe they would do a couple like minor sales during the holidays or something like that to kind of even it out. But yeah, I'm going to say true. I think it's going to get a price increase this year.
Do you think it'll be sales or pack-ins? Because I think that like that's one thing that they can do a lot easier is do pack-ins.
Yeah, I think pack-in's probably a better move there. Yeah, but I do see the price going up. I mean, it's unfortunate. It's awesome that they've waited this long. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Especially compared to some of the stuff we've been seeing. A lot of it comes down to what, Carrie's always talked about is like that huge, massive inventory that they got piled up beforehand. And I think they're still kind of riding high on that. But I don't think it's going to last all year.
Rich?
Yeah, I can't really argue this. I mean, it would be nice if they could hold out for the rest of the year. I know they have some bangers coming this year based on what we've seen, right? But it's hard to picture them kind of holding on to this price that they have, especially with, I think a lot of folks bought the Mario Kart version, so they spent the extra 50 anyway. You're right. So like, yeah, make that the standard price. Maybe, like you said, include a pack in. So we'll see, but no, I can't argue this one. I think it's true.
I'm going to say false. And here's why. If we were, so all of the Joy-Cons are crazy expensive. The dock is crazy expensive. The screen is not very expensive. The battery's not expensive. What's the expensive part on here, right? It's the NAND and RAM. That's the part that's unobtainium and super hard to find.
Yeah.
So effectively, most of the Switch 2 is still at normal prices. It's only the RAM and the NAND that's in crazy nonsense prices.
Well, but you could say that for everything else too.
Right. But everything else, I think, was selling at a specific margin. And Nintendo has bigger margins than other console makers have. And one of the bigger clues that we have is that if you go to repair.nintendo.com and you say, I want to repair my Switch 2, Nintendo will sell you the board with all RAM and NAND and the chip and everything on it for $180. So how much does all the other stuff cost? How much does the screen cost? How much does the dock cost? How much does the Joy-Cons cost? I figure that for me, it's actually closer to like $250, $280 for Nintendo to make a Switch 2. Now, I am talking about U.S. Switch prices. Now, you realize that I'm saying $280. Do you know what the price of the Switch 2 is in Japan?
Isn't that the one where it's $350?
There's like a region locked one that's cheap,
okay.
right?
Yeah, it's region locked.
Yeah, it's $330. And they're still making money on that. Or it's close to break even. So they have a lot of room. Nintendo has a lot of room that they can still kind of buffer into. So for me, I think Nintendo is going to personally take this decision and say, actually, we're not going to make profit here because we want to actually be the part where people can't afford anything else, but they can afford our stuff. And I think that they're going to look at that through the lens of, yes, we're not going to make as much money as we made on the hardware previously, but we're going to make up for that with people just buying because it's going to be the only affordable option.
You know, in a recent episode, I don't remember how long ago, but recently we were talking about the fact that Nintendo had done this sneaky price hike where they raised the price of physical media on Nintendo Switch 2.
Oh, yes.
And they kept the digital price to be what it normally is. And there's some people that say that that's not a price hike. That's not what we're here to re-argue. Whatever you want to call it, that's perfectly fine. And at the time, one of the things that I said was I think that they do this for a lot of reasons. But number one, because they prefer people to buy games digitally. You can't trade in your games. They can control when things are on sale. They control how much people are paying for that. And it's just cheaper for them. They don't have product that they have to ship all over the place. But then when you bring into that the fact that NAND prices are out of control, and I'm pretty sure that there's some of that stuff goes into like the making of the cards, like what are the cards called?
The game key cards?
Game key cards, or like the cards that you put in, whatever they're called, game key cards. I think that's just for the ones that don't have anything on them, but whatever.
Right.
The things that you put into the device, like I bet you that Nintendo is taking a loss on that stuff too. Like not a loss, but they're not making as much as they used to because of this. And it makes me wonder if this is yet another symptom, like them doing that price thing with the digital games versus physical games. I wonder if that's another symptom of this same thing.
Possible.
Yeah, it's fair.
All right.
Honestly, thinking about this from Carrie's perspective, it actually starts to make sense. It's like they're like, we're going to be the company that weathers the storm, right? This is the same company whose CEO has reduced their own pay in order for people not to get fired, right? Wasn't that a thing they had done in the past? And so I could see, something like that happening as well. Like from a fact that, like, hey, we've been around since the 1800s. We're going to still be around. Like we're an enduring company and a symbol, and so I could see that too. I don't have enough faith to believe in that. That's how I want them to be, but I don't know if that's how they're going to be. We'll see.
So I do think that there has to be a price increase on the Japanese model. It has to. Like, I don't think they're going to eat the cost. They're not going to lose money, but they have a buffer on the US versions. So I do think that there will be a price increase on the Japanese model, which is $330, but I don't think there's going to be a price increase on the US version.
Okay. All right, last one also came in from Geo 2062. They said ASUS will reveal an Ally X hardware revision that includes a larger screen or OLED. I'm going to go first on this. Absolutely not. I don't think that they're going to be dropping any kind of handhelds anytime soon. I think even though they seem to be weathering the storm better than Lenovo, as per our previous conversation, I bet that we see a slowdown everywhere when it comes to these handheld devices because they're super niche. And niche devices means that you can't order in bulk. And if you can't order in bulk, then the prices are going to be high. So I don't think that's true. Tell me I'm wrong, you guys, because I like talking about handheld stuff. Rich?
This is a rough one, a rough set of questions, right? Lenovo
really
dropping out, Switch 2 price hike. Yeah, no, I don't think ASUS will reveal an Ally X. I felt like there was a little like hullabaloo, right? Like there was some ASUS event or something that people were speculating that something like that was coming. But I'm in agreement with you, Bill. I think that, yeah, there's just too much going on. Now's not the time.
Carrie, you were away last week. Were you at some kind of thing where you got to see an Xbox Ally X with a big screen that was OLED?
No, but I'm going to say true anyway.
You think they're going to this year?
Yes.
Oh,
Sure,
actually, they didn't specify this year. They just specified at some point.
How much will that be, Carrie?
$4,000.
$39.99.
So, that goes into my point, though, is that I think that they probably will. I mean, they are a hardware company and they have an annual cycle and they've been doing this every year. laptops, small form factor PCs, they're always turning out a new one. And they seem to still be doing that even in the face of prices that are just astronomical. The Hideo Kojima, like Flow Z13,
that's
they're like,
right.
let's go ahead and do a 128
That's true.
gigabyte RAM model of this thing in the worst possible time, and then increase the price a week before it launches, right? Like they're barreling through this. And so just given what we've seen already, I think, yeah, they're still cooking on something.
Yeah. So the only thing for me that I wish, like, right, because if they could get rid of the bezels on the side, like, if they could just make it just a tiny bit bigger, this is a side conversation. I have actually talked to them about an 8-inch screen. This is outside of, this is before when the last time we talked about, it was at the Xbox LAX event. And I said that the Switch 2 at 8 inches, for me, especially all the people talking about the 16:9, 8 inches is like now the new standard. I've heard so many people absolutely love it, and I have not heard anyone say, "Oh man, this is too big." So I was like, you really got to try to figure out getting as closer to 8 inches as possible. But I know I got pushback from it on ASUS as well. They're like, 8 inches is so big. And I was like, like you got just worry about the sides. Like the sides, you can have thicker bezels, but on the top, try to go out as top as you can. You know what I mean? Just like really work with the dimensions. So if they can get like a 7.5 or 7.6 OLED model, that would be kind of cool.
What's the size of the screen on the Lenovo Legion Go
7.
S?
Oh, Legion Go S?
8, but it's 16 by 10, so it's taller.
Yeah.
It's just 8.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so
Just 8. Okay. Yeah.
The Go is,
yeah, but it's taller.
8.8.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's a wonderful screen. That's exactly what I would want to see. I would want to see 16 by 10. I prefer 16 by 10, and then 8 inches. Like basically, just put that screen in it.
Yeah, the Switch 2 size, I think a lot of people absolutely love. So if you can minimize the bezels on that as best as possible, I think that's but they push back on it. But I do think that at this point it's going to be OLED. I'm going to say true.
OLED VRR. Like the Lenovo Legion Go 2?
Why not?
Okay,
let's
Carrie's
all in all, why not?
Pie in the sky. Why
All
not?
right, Carrie. No Switch 2
Carrie's
price
like,
hike
"What's not to love?"
and a new ASUS handheld.
The Legend of Zelda movie is going to be 95 rated.
You know what? This is a big turn of events because beginning of the year is all 2026 and, cursed year, but I'm enjoying the optimism.
Oh, well, yeah, I don't think Nintendo's going to raise the price. And I do think that, I'm going to say true on OLED handheld.
All right. Well, let us know what you guys think in the comments section down below. And we are already at 2 hours, but I just want to have a quick 5-minute conversation about Pragmata because we've been playing it. Carrie, have you been playing Pragmata at all?
I own it. No, I'm still playing Starfield.
Fair enough.
The new DLC is out, and I'm really enjoying it. But since you guys have been talking about it, and like I hear like Vanquish and other stuff, I'm like, oh man, this sounds awesome. Like I want to play this, so I will. I'm not there with you guys yet, but have a conversation. I want to listen.
I am loving this game, and I went on record when it first was shown, and I looked at the video, and I was like, oh, this looks stupid. I'm not interested in this.
Yeah,
I hate the idea walking around with like this little girl who's always like, oh my God, look at that. Like that just seems kind of irritating to me. But the gameplay is so freaking good. Like when you pull down on that trigger, bring up her little hacking thing, you're trying to get the little puzzle done as fast as you can while the monsters are coming at you. You can stop in the middle of it, move, reposition yourself, pull it back up, keep doing what you're doing, then hack them, and then they open up, and then you can start plugging away with your gun. That gameplay loop is so damn good, and I love the world that they have designed. Like the robots are crazy looking. It feels like I'm playing a zombie game without any gore at all. And I love it. This game is definitely going to be it's going to be a contender for one of my, it's going to be in the conversation for Game of the Year, I think.
Wow, for sure.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Russ, how are
Rich,
you feeling about it?
Talk about it.
I want to hear Russ because Russ, you're
Okay.
I feel like you have some high points, right? But I don't like when I see this game, I play this game, I don't think of it as a Russ game. So I'm curious.
Yeah, no, I am enjoying it. It does feel a little bit outside of the norm for me. I had the same fears about this tag along kid and stuff, but it's absolutely not a thing. It reminds me, and I mentioned this in the chat. It's like Vanquished plus Lost Planet plus Donkey Kong Country Returns is kind of what it feels like. It's like
Donkey
the mix
Kong
of those
Country
three.
Returns.
Yeah, because you got
I
Diddy
get
on
it.
your back,
Yeah.
and he
Oh,
lets you float,
okay.
and so. Anyway, so yeah, it's fun. It feels older. It feels like a 2010
Yes.
game, not a 2026 game. And there are some elements to it that I don't like. Most of it I love, right? Feels very good, feels very Japanese, like that it's definitely made by a Japanese team. You can feel that, and I love that. I do not like when I'm walking up to an area and there's two doors and I got to go left or I got to go right. One of them is just going to be like a special thing that I can find. It's going to be like a room or maybe just a dead end, but it'll have some sort of extra thing I want. Or the other one is going to progress the story. And every time I pick the wrong one. And I'm like, I don't want to progress the story. I got to go back and then find the other one, right? And so this happens to me all the time. It's going to take me, it's an 8-hour game, apparently. It's going to take me 15 hours to beat this game because I keep having to backtrack because of the level design. It doesn't make intuitive sense to me which way I'm supposed to go. And so I end up backtracking so much in this game. I'm liking it though, and it does have a Metroidvania aspect to it. As you get more powerful, you get more abilities, then it does unlock things that were previously locked in other levels, and so you can go back and do that. I like that too. Another reason why I'm probably going to be like closer to 100%ing this game, just because it's like my mind is like, hey, you got to finish that, you got to go back and get that, and so I'm enjoying it. I like the combat. It is stressful, even on easy, but it's not to the point where I'm like being turned off or trying to look for cheats or anything else like that. I think it's a good, solid game. Yeah, for me, it's not a game of the year contender, but I'm having a lot of fun with it.
Fair. Yeah. I do think the game is sort of like built around that backtracking. And so like I kind of have similar, like I'll call them like an OCDism, right? That like, oh, I really want to go to the way that's not the critical path, collect the thing, then go to critical path.
Right.
But to your point too, Russ, there's just stuff that you can't do anyway. You have to come back later anyway. And so like I'm letting go of that. I'm letting go of like, oh, I need to collect this now. Even on returning to a level, I don't think I have everything I need. Even though I've unlocked something that helps me unlock more of a previous level, there are still things I can't seem to get to. So I'm like, maybe I got to come back later. And you know what else? This game appears to be a short game. Like I've only played it for a few hours, and I think I'm like 30% done, right? And so like I think it's like a 10-ish hour game, which I'm a fan of, right? And so like it just seems like one of those things that like you're gonna replay these levels. And to both of your points, this is like a game ass game, right? Like this is 2010 is everything before that has a texture and a feeling that us old folks feel, right? Like because everything after that was more sandbox, more shooters, and more I guess still sandbox, but like Minecraft, right? Like a different type of sandbox. Because at first I was referring to GTA 5 and then Minecraft, right? And so, and not just that, but then tentpole games became more cinematic, leaning more into like Norse God of War, Last of Us, right? Like all of that. Whereas the games that I really think of as like peak gaming is like this stuff, like where it's just like a ridiculous premise, both mechanically and narratively, right? The narrative mechanic is insane. You're playing a puzzle to shoot the person, and it's just like that does look dumb, but it's fun as hell. And then narratively, like the premise is a little out there too, but in a good way, right? And like the girl that just does the 1100001111, like it is the most amazing thing. I love that. And then the last thing I'll harp on are the training missions. I just love that in any game. Anytime you give me like Metal Gear Solid VR mission type stuff, I'm a sucker for that.
Yeah, so I'll add two things to it. One, another game that I think it's kind of like, and you guys probably can see this too. It feels like a PG rated version of Dead Space in some ways.
Yeah.
I can kind of get that feeling too. And then also one of the things I like about it is that it's kind of got some roguelike elements to it. So there's save spots within each of these maps. And it's like this little thing that'll take you back to your HQ. So it's kind of like going to the campsite or, making camp for the night kind of thing. And when you come back out of that, then all the enemies have respawned. So you're back at it, And so I've been using that as a loop to gain more XP. Like you get this material filament that you can then use to upgrade your weapons and other things. It's basically money. And so that's a way to not farm, but it's like grinding, right? And so I've been doing that a bit. And like this can help me with the difficulty spikes, basically. And so this is like the way that I'm overcoming that. And it's fun in its own way. It's repetitive, but I'm squeezing a lot out of this game in that same way. So I'm at like about 5 hours at this point, and I'm probably as far as you, Rich, in your 3 hours.
So the only thing I wanted to talk about as you guys were talking about this, because I'm taking a look especially because you guys are talking about like it feels like a 2010 game, and I think about that as like the PS360 generation, and there's a lot of stuff, but not for nothing, that was also Capcom's like shining generation with the MT framework, and I feel like now with the RE engine that they have, they're back in that old MT framework. Like they know what they're doing, and their new engine is doing what they want them to do.
They are carrying AAA on their backs.
Yeah. So I feel like what we're witnessing is the resurgence of Capcom from. Remember when Xbox 360 came out, the HD era, a lot of Japanese publishers did not catch up. They were like lagging behind a lot, but Capcom was just like dead rising. Like every game that they were coming out with MT framework was beautiful, was like played great. It was just amazing. And it feels to me like we're in another prime Capcom generation. I just love that. So I'm just like kind of not playing it yet, but now I actually really want to play Pragmata. So I'm trying to finish up Starfield, and I'll probably just go straight into this.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah. I will also say real quick that the traversal in the game feels so good. Your character has like these little jets, so you can like double jump or whatever, and you can hover. But the way that gravity works when you are playing, it feels like it should. You know what I mean? It feels like when you are playing, you feel like, oh yeah, if I had little jets, this is how I would move in low gravity. It feels like that. You don't quite have the control that you feel like you should. You know what I mean? Like you can't change direction. You have momentum when you're moving. There's just something about it. They really nailed that.
It feels human, I would say.
Yes, it really does. In the kind where you're like, okay, I'm going to jump and then I'm going to turn and face this and then do my double jump. No, you can't do that because your momentum is going in this direction. Right. So you're going to continue going in that direction because physics just freaking works, I love that.
Yeah, there was
go ahead.
There was a scenario I encountered where I was like trying to get a MacGuffin, and it was like you have to like hover there, and kind of to your point, right? Like I kept doing it, and I was sure I was doing it correctly, and I couldn't make it over. I couldn't make it over the gap, and it really had to be straight. And like any deviation from that, the momentum would not be enough to carry you over. You had to hit it straight ahead, and that's how you could cross that gap. So yeah, it was very much like you have to kind of master the maneuvering.
Yeah, you absolutely do. And then the last thing that I want to say about the game, and then I'll let Russ jump in. The weapons are so unique. Like you have sticky bombs that make the hacking matrix shorter. You've got a shotgun and a charge rifle. But when you're playing this, the guns feel like they are different from guns in other games, and that is always something that I appreciate.
Yeah, and my other point was that the game makes you use all of them too. Like you can't just like be like, oh, I'm going to use my shotgun and just get through all that stuff because there's limited ammo and you never know if you're going to get a pickup. But then also you need to throw the sticky bomb to get them to slow down a bit so you can get the hack on them so then you can shoot them. And so you end up at the end of a battle basically using all of your weapons at some point. And that's not a thing I usually will do in a game. I usually just stick with what I know and I'm good at and I'll just work around that. But this game and Ghost of Tsushima are two in particular where it like made me use all my weapons in a battle. And so I like that.
Yeah. And, that I'm also the same guy that will finish a game with 4,000 potions in my inventory because I'm afraid to use them. I am also using every single thing that I can. And at the end of a fight, there's always more stuff to pick up. And it's great.
Yeah.
Like they really nailed the pacing of this game, I think.
Yeah, and with the weapons, the set pieces support that too. So you guys know when you picked up the weapon that you mentioned in chat, when you picked that up the first time, and there was a room of
Right.
enemies, and you used that weapon for the first time, and then you hit a switch, and a thing happens, and it was just like it was a great moment. I don't want to spoil it.
It's good onboarding.
Yes,
I will say, just shout out to our listeners and viewers and stuff. So last week was lamenting about, I don't know if I want to pay full price for this game. I had just bought, what is that other one, Replaced, and I was like, I don't want to spend $60 on it. I'll wait for a sale. And then somebody left a comment and was like, Russ, buy the game when you want to play the game.
Facts.
And it was like so smart. Like and it was just the little nudge I needed to actually do it, and I'm so glad I did, because I think if I had waited longer, I just wouldn't have enjoyed it as much. And I like talking with you guys about it too. So really enjoying it. And I think it's worth $60, even though it's not a long game. I think that price is actually pretty justified, even though last week I was saying it wasn't.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, let us know what you guys have been playing and what you think of Pragmata. Carrie, you want to tell us real quick about Starfield DLC before we get out of here?
Oh, yeah, super quick. It's Starfield, but they did some neat little changes. So there's free lanes, and now they have basically forced you to not use quick travel at all. So you cannot quick travel to a place. You have to use your cruise mode, which goes super fast now, so you can actually go to planets fast. So that's how you get to, and there's incursions and stuff. So there's lots of other stuff. And then there's a lot of new story elements that they added on. So like a lot of the missions are really well thought out. So there's just a lot of things, and then new weapons and stuff. And the one thing that I do like that I hope that they bring over to Elder Scrolls 6 is that they also padded everything for late game play. So I had tons of credits, which I was building ships and getting kind of tired of just building kind of giganto ships that do too much. And I kind of regret it now, because now you can upgrade all of any weapon you want to be legendary and like roll for a legendary stat. But it's crazy expensive and uses a very rare part. But you can mine that later on in the game. But that's it. So I just really like they fleshed it all out. I feel like it's a really good update, and it makes Starfield just overall a better game. So if people were to play it for the first time, it'll feel a lot more cohesive. And I really enjoyed Starfield before, and I continue to enjoy it. That's it.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys for hanging out with us for the last 2 hours and 15 minutes. This was a fun conversation. I always love it when Rich stirs the pot and tries to get fights to happen. It makes me laugh.
Fight.
Yes, I love it. So let us know what you guys are playing, and we will see you on the next one. Russ, tell us about your latest video or your next video or something that you're working on.
Well, I did a video about those games. We were talking about that game grid
Right.
list. And then I'm now working on a review of the AYN Thor Lite. So this is the cheaper one with the Snapdragon 865. So that'll probably be my next video. And then I got a couple other hardware things in the works. I've got that AOStar AG03 eGPU that has Thunderbolt 5 at
That's
a
a
good
wonderful
price
name.
too. Yeah, it just rolls off the tongue. And a couple other things I can't think of, but I do have a lot of hardware that I need to start reviewing. I've been making a lot of fun videos, and got to get back to work.
Yeah. What about you, Carrie? What are you working on, man?
So I'll have a video out by Monday. It's secret hardware that you'll know about on Monday. It's not super like awesome, so don't get your hopes up, but it's still cool stuff.
It's not ally with an OLED.
No.
Okay.
All right.
Fair enough.
Rich, you got something to share?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with. I've talked about daily puzzle games like the New York Times Mini and MIDI crosswords and New York Times Connections. I'm gonna go with maptap.gg. If any of you are geography nerds, I'm not, by the way, but I just enjoy daily puzzle games. Maptap.gg is a daily geography game, kind of like a trivia.
Oh, this is the one we did on Discord, right?
Yes, that's
Didn't we
right.
do this like a couple weeks ago?
Yeah. So I've been continuing to play it. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Thank you guys for hanging out with us. My name's Bill, and these guys are awesome. Make sure you subscribe to their stuff. Russ, where can they find yours?
Retro Game Core, CORPS.
And Carrie, what about you?
Yeah, you can find me on YouTube, The Fox.
And what about you, Rich?
Fan to deck.
All right. I'm Bill from the Nerd Nest. Stay rad, everybody. Bye-bye.
See you guys.
Bye-bye.